Ay, ay, ay. Ay, 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 ay. We are live, I think. It's been a while since I've done one of these regular sort of live streams where we just chat about boxing. And of course, 'tis the season to be merry. Christmas Eve. I've got a couple of days off, obviously. I'm working throughout most of Christmas. So, yeah, it's one of those ones, but been an interesting year in boxing, been an interesting weekend in boxing. The final sort of major weekend of the year culminated in Tyson Fury being outboxed by Alexander Usyk once again, and can't lie, I was very happy with that result, very happy. But the fallout to that fight's been interesting. A lot of excuses from Team Fury, as we expected, I think. Crying and complaining about robberies that never happened, all that shit, But he was soundly outboxed, in my opinion, Tyson Fury. I felt he was soundly outboxed. He was awkward. He was, for me, Tyson Fury's performance in that fight was, it looked like he went in there to try and steal the fight more so than, really try to stamp his authority, so to speak, To me, he boxed like he was trying to steal it, flicking the jab. Occasionally he would come in with the 1-2 and whatnot, but I felt a lot of his work was messy. I felt a lot of his work was very, kind of get off me, instead of, trying to hurt Usyk. I felt that Fury was kind of scared of being countered. He was too preoccupied with what was coming back, I felt, Tyson Fury. What's up, 286 Project? How you doing, man? Drunk Irishman, what's up, man? Nice to see you, Stefan. Been a while, man. Hopefully you're well. Yeah, Fury losing definitely will make the turkey taste a bit better. And shout out to Turkey a la Sheikh as well for making it happen. Yeah, that's what I think, God of Frogs. I think Fury, Loki was hoping for a robbery, like a gift. I felt the commentary, by the way. I'm not sure what platforms you guys watched it on, but I watched it on Sky Sports. So I saw the fight round a mate's gaff. A few of us came over, had a few drinks, etc. And I was watching it on Sky Sports, and God help us, bro, the commentary was awful. The commentary was awful. So bad. So bad. Any kind of swing round or any round where Fury had a couple of moments, it felt like the Sky team were giving those rounds to Tyson Fury. It was crazy. I can't imagine that his own commentary was much better. Yeah, bro, smoking on that Fury packs, drinking a Stella. Yeah, man, you know how it is. But yeah, for me, Fury never really made the necessary adjustments from the first fight. He was a little more defensively sound, I think, Tyson Fury, to a degree. But he was still getting caught with that straight left to the body over and over and over again. And I was thinking, I've been thinking about this since the fight happened. Most people I see online say that Fury was better in the second fight. I certainly think he was more disciplined, but was he better? I don't think he was. To me, in the first fight, maybe his stamina was better in the second fight. But to me, in the first fight, Fury's offense looked a lot more dynamic. I felt his punches looked quicker. I felt his punches had more snap on them. And overall, I felt Fury in the first fight, despite me thinking he lost clearly, I genuinely think he had Usyk in a bit of trouble. He put a bit of worry into Usyk. Made Usyk not second guess himself, but again, made him a little concerned throughout parts of that fight. To me, Usyk in this fight never looked flustered. In the rematch, this is. He never looked flustered. He never looked like he was losing control of the fight. And Usyk, to me, always looked in second gear. I felt Usyk looked like he was in second gear throughout that second fight. I felt Fury was a lot better in the first fight, which is weird to say because he got badly hurt, nearly got knocked out, but I felt he was offensively more dangerous first time around. Adolf Stalin, what's up, man? Simon Jordan is so angry. Well, he's been pom-pom waving for Tyson Fury for 2, 3, 4 years. Yep, bro. And great point, Last Baron. So the British media and butthurt Fury fans are straight refusing to give Usyk his flowers. Yeah. One thing I've noticed. So ever since Vladimir Klitschko lost to Tyson Fury in 2015, since then, so more or less nearly for the last decade, we've been hearing this on repeat. Which is this. We're in a golden age for heavyweight boxing. As soon as Usyk clears these guys up, what's the narrative now? Oh, this era wasn't that great. This era wasn't that strong. One of the worst eras ever now, I'm hearing. Now, I don't particularly rate this era super high. You guys know my thoughts on that. But the people who are saying this was a golden age, and now they're going like totally the opposite, it's crazy. Tim Bradley, by the way, a few months ago was saying, in a head-to-head scenario, I can't think of many heavyweights who beat Tyson Fury. Usyk beats him twice, and Tim Bradley is so backhanded in his like praise of Usyk, but he makes sure to state, oh, Usyk's not an all-time great though. It's like, come on, man, what is this? What is this, man? What's up, Bruce? How you doing? Yeah, he was more durable because he was fat, yeah. I had it muted after 2 rounds. I was scratching my head seeing the second round scoring of Joshua. A very odd scorecard from AJ, yeah. I agree, the scorecards were crazy. I felt the scorecards in the fight were perfect. About 8 rounds to 4. 9 rounds to 3. That's what I saw. Yeah, he did way more damage to Usyk in the first fight. Usyk had to really dig deep, yeah. And he said that himself in the post-fight interview. He said that the first fight was harder. And that doesn't surprise me because it looked harder. It looked harder physically. Yeah, clearly landed better punches in the first fight, yeah. 100%. Yeah, bro, so this fight looks like it's going to get made. Teofimo Lopez against Subriel Matias. I like that fight. I know Matias is coming off a recent loss, but I like that fight. I do like that fight, but like you said, we need to get a motivated Matias, yeah. That'll be a good fight. That'll be entertaining at least. Usyk had higher highs and lower lows in the first fight, and the same can be said about Fury. Usyk was more consistent in the second, but his moments weren't as big as the first fight. I agree, yeah. But overall, I felt Fury was better in the first fight. Again, for my reasoning being, I felt the punches looked more weighty. I felt they had more snap on them. They were quicker. He looked more dynamic offensively, Tyson Fury, first time around. The way he was putting his shots together. He just looked a lot more fluid in the first fight. I felt in the second fight, he was just lackadaisical. You know? What's up, Nordic man? How you doing, bro? My manager told me that they thought Fury won. I just laughed, yeah. Spencer Oliver looks like a genius next to Simon Jordan. He's another guy I can't stand, by the way, is that Spencer Oliver. Yeah, they're already trying it, Grant. They're already trying it. Yeah, Dubois actually KO'd Usyk, yeah. Yeah, exactly, bro. When Wilder, when Joshua, when Fury had belts, nobody was saying this era was weak. Now, all of a sudden, Usyk has the belts. Oh, the era was weak all along. The era was weak all along. I said these guys overrated this era, so I'm not like trying to, you know, give Usyk any more credit than he needs, but be consistent with it, right? Be consistent. If you said this was a golden age, then you need to give Usyk the appropriate credit. What's up, JD, bro? How you doing, man? No, it wasn't a golden age. It was a decent era, but yeah, no more than solid, no more than decent. Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, the same people who thought Fury won are probably the same people that thought Usyk Chisora was razor close. Absolute clowns. Anything from 116, 112 to 115, 113, Usyk was fine. 100%. I agree, Jonathan. Yeah, I agree. Damn, you scored it a draw? MB, man. What do you call it? What feed were you watching? DAZN or? Yeah, exactly. Let me ace. Arguably his cruiserweight, bro. His cruiserweight run was crazy. Easily, for me, he is the all-time great cruiserweight. No doubt. Now, no doubt in my mind on that one. Yeah, so you had it 117, 111. Tank Roach might get cancelled again. What should Tank do next? I don't care for that fight. And quite frankly, I find it hard to get behind Tank Davis and get excited for his fights. So I could care less what he does next, I'll be honest with you. I could really care less. I mean, look at the PBC options. Who's he got to fight? There's nobody there. I don't really care. I'll be honest with you about Tank. I don't care. Like, he needs to get out of his comfort zone, Tank Davis. You know, he needs to change promoter, maybe get on these Riyadh cards, fight a Shakur Stevenson, a Devin Haney, a Teofimo. You guys know the names, right? But that's not going to happen. Yeah, standard family gathering apology. Looking forward to the food, man, and just chilling for a day. Yeah, but basically that's it, Nordic. That's exactly the narrative. AJ and Wilder on top, golden age. Usyk on top, weak era. Yeah, that's it. That's how quickly these people flipped. This is an interesting comment. Fury didn't really fight a better fight against Usyk than AJ did in his rematch. Both clearly lost and won around 4 rounds at best if you're generous. I agree. Yeah, I agree as well, yeah. Definitely more confident in the first fight, yeah, 100%. I think what really shook Fury's confidence wasn't really the loss itself, it was the fact that he got fucking punched all around the ring in round 9. Badly hurt, nearly knocked out. I think that's what really shook his confidence. Because I think he knows that he's never been hurt like that before. I think that was the worst we've ever seen Fury get hurt. And I think he knew that going into the rematch, and he fought like that. He fought like a guy who didn't really want to let it all hang out. And for the few crazy Tyson Fury cultists out there who say Fury won, I mean, look at the corner speech at the end there from Tyson Fury's trainer. I know that doesn't necessarily mean you're losing a fight. I get that, but that says it all. And Tyson Fury couldn't really like pull it out in the 12th round. He lost that fight clearly. Thomas Connolly, what's up? Yeah, no, some people have the hand history vote. I'm not saying some people have, but like a lot of people said this was a golden age. A lot of people did, including people in the media. You know, as I said, Tim Bradley is saying Usyk's not an all-time great. When, like, a few months ago, prior to the first Usyk fight, I can't think of many heavyweights who beat Tyson Fury in history. Usyk, a blown-up cruiserweight, beats this guy twice. Not an all-time great, though. Yeah, Ultra's a good channel, man. I like Ultra a lot. Very good channel. What's up, Guadalupe? How you doing, bro? I wonder what the next era is going to be like. We've got Jalalov coming through, Bakadir Jalalov. We've got Moses Atalma. Dubois is still young. There's a few guys coming through. Benny from Crossroads makes Jordan look like a genius. Crossroads is a little bit before my time. Yeah, I want to see Bacole in the mix. Yeah, I want to see Bacole in the mix as well. I actually think I'm really leaning towards Caballel to beat Zhang. It's a good fight. Very good fight. But yeah, Bacole looks like he's fighting F.A. Ajagba soon in an eliminator. That's a decent fight. Yeah, exactly, Rolf. Same thing with the Klitschko era. They called it weak just because they hated the Klitschkos, even though washed-up guys from that era, Povetkin, Chisora, etc., went on to beat many top guys of this era. Exactly. Exactly, bro. Yeah, I don't get it, Adolf. I don't get it. So for me, listen, ideally, bro, I wouldn't be mad if Usyk retired now. For me, he doesn't have anything to prove. If he sticks around, though, for example, he sticks around at heavyweight. If Parker beats Dubois, I wouldn't mind that fight. And I also wouldn't mind the Zhang versus Caballel winner as opponents. They're different. I don't want to see Usyk take another rematch, I'll be honest. I want to see something different if he sticks around at heavyweight. So for me, if Parker beats Dubois, a Parker fight makes sense. And the Zhang Caballel winner as well. Part of me, though, would like to see if Usyk could go back down to cruiserweight. Because he's basically got a free hit at this point in time. If he goes down, and he struggles with the weight and it doesn't work out, nobody's really going to hold it against him. But could you imagine if he went down to cruiserweight and fought Jai Opataya and won? Something crazy like that. How about, let's say Usyk goes down to cruiserweight and has a fight with Beterbiev, just a money fight. I wouldn't begrudge him that at all. If Beterbiev beats Bivol again, what if he fights Beterbiev at cruiserweight? Just because you can make it. I wouldn't mind that fight. Just something crazy. Does anybody think that Beterbiev may stop Bivol in the rematch? I think it's possible. Yeah, exactly, JD. Yeah. It was similar on Sky Sports. Oh, is Nordic live? Or was Nordic live? I didn't see him on my feed. Fury's got PTSD. Fury's class is less than 0. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Well, there's been a lot of Tyson Fury fans claim Tyson Fury to be an all-time great. Putting him up there with great fighters of the past in the heavyweight division. The best comparison for Tyson Fury for me is Riddick Bowe. Not in terms of style, but in terms of you have two supremely talented heavyweights who wasted their talent. Because, yeah, Tyson Fury has got the win over Klitschko. It's a great win on paper. Yeah, he's got the wins over Wilder, which were great fights to watch. But he should have done a lot more with his talent. Fury was blessed with attributes that most heavyweights don't get. 6'8" switch hitter, foot speed, hand speed, good dexterity, awkward, good reactions. Tyson Fury had traits that most heavyweights would kill to have. He had so much talent. Tyson Fury was a generational talent, but for me, he never lived up to his potential. And that's why I would compare him to Riddick Bowe, because he was similar, not stylistically, but similar in the sense of Riddick Bowe had all the talent in the world, great inside fighter, wonderful jab, power, strong, good punch technique. Riddick Bowe was a really talented fighter, but he couldn't stay out of a fucking cupboard. He couldn't put the cakes down, and his career you know, was very short because of it. And well, you know, and I put Fury in a similar bracket. I think he's wasted, like, he should have done more with his talent. Should have done more. So if I'm comparing Tyson Fury to anybody, it would be Riddick Bowe. Bradley is still living off his gift decision against Pacquiao. It's the only reason he's relevant in the media. Yeah, that was his like claim to fame, wasn't it? He has good wins, but yeah, you're right. Bukele priced himself out of a Caballero fight, wanted 3.5 million. The Saudis walked away, that's why it went to purse bids. Are you serious? I never heard that. I never heard that. Interesting. Personally, I think everyone is overrating Usyk and giving him too much credit. However, I do think Usyk is a solid all-time heavyweight. Yeah, that's fair enough, hand history Volt. That's fair enough. Yeah, that's what I'm saying about Jalolov. I call him a prospect, but he's 30, right? He's 30 years old. But I agree, yeah. Jalolov should be in line for a title shot, but you're right. He's fighting no-hopers because he fucked around fighting in the Olympics again. What's up, Vitavan? How you doing? Yeah, exactly, Vitavan. Smash the like, guys. It's fucking Christmas. The least you could gift me this Christmas is a nice fat like. A big old like. I'd rather see Opataya move up. Yeah, I see that as well, man. I see that as well. I see that as well. By the way, I'm quite into that Opataya fight in January. He's fighting a guy called David Nika, who is decent. Who's decent. It's going to come too early for him, but I actually think he'll do okay. I think he'll give Opataya a decent fight. Yeah, sorry, man. I wouldn't have gone live if I knew you was live, bro. Yeah, Yanks say every modern era is weak because they're not involved. Don't mention Wilder, yeah. Yeah, bro, I was looking through my Twitter and I was calling out fans like back in the day when Usyk first went to heavyweight and he was mandatory for Joshua's WBO title. There was a lot of talks at the time that Joshua was going to vacate, and a lot of like the Matchroom FC narrative was that Usyk's a small heavyweight. He's not a name. We don't need that fight. And I was calling these guys out then about Usyk being at heavyweight, you know, deserving his shot, how worthy he is, and now here we are. Riddick, exactly, and Riddick had a greedy belly. Riddick Bowe, Tyson Fury, is this generation's Riddick Bowe. He is the UK's answer to Riddick Bowe. That is what Tyson Fury is. Supremely talented, but he wasted that talent. That's what he is. Riddick Bowe was the original greedy belly. Riddick was the greedy belly. Great shout there by Mad Chad. Riddick Bowe was the original greedy belly. I agree, Grant. Yeah, Tyson Fury should have been weighing around 250 his whole career. People just accepted it's okay that he was overweight. Yeah. Yeah, he looked good, man. He looked good, but McKean looked poor. But yeah, I mean, Atama did what he had to do, right? It's funny you say that, Nordic. I just see a comment down here. I was ending it anyway. Okay, I've got a sore throat and couldn't stop coughing. Yeah, I've got a dry mouth. I'm drinking beer, which probably doesn't help. Oh yeah, 100% CPB. Yeah, Usyk is definitely the best heavyweight since Vladimir. Yeah, facts. Yeah, I saw Johnny Fisher's dad arguing with Gad. Yeah, I saw that. I was going to make a video just cussing that guy out, but it's Christmas, right? It's Christmas. I've got to be a little bit more... I say that, man. I might just go hard with it. Frank Warren came out with an interview with Umar that I might make a video on in a couple of days' time. I don't know. I kind of got... I have a little more... I have a little more enthusiasm for boxing recently for whatever reason. Yeah, imagine coming across a bigger knob than Gad. Yeah, take some doing. Listen, man, Johnny Fisher's dad is a fucking waste of space. I'll be honest. He got famous by being a fat slob fucking glutton. He got famous by being a sinner. You know, gluttony and all that. Terrible. Chicken bow, yeah. Fury has a bit of time to add to his legacy, but knowing him, who knows what happens exactly. But even if he does let me ace, like, imagine alternative universe Tyson Fury had like the mentality of like a Vladimir Klitschko, or just any good professional that you know of. Like, imagine he beats Vladimir, and imagine the run he then goes on and has. You know? Fighting the likes of Povetkin, a Joshua, a more prime, you know, like he could have done so much, Tyson Fury. Yeah, he struggled with Chisora. That was the line. That was the line. And I know that like Nordic's not exactly a massive Chisora fan, but people listen. Chisora's got a booky ass looking record, but Chisora's always been a good heavyweight. He's not a bad fighter. Let's be honest about it. He's not a bad fighter at all. I would still watch Fury AJ to see the fight of Usyk's children. I would still watch Fury AJ. Yeah, I would. I'd still watch it. It'd still be a good fight, I'm sure. I think Joshua would be dangerous early on. I think Fury takes it late. But I'd still watch it. I think it'll be good. The TNT commentators were a disgrace. Their scorecards had Fury ahead, and it was like a funeral when Usyk got announced. Yeah, I can imagine. No, Inoue Goodman got postponed. Apology. It got pushed back to January. I think Goodman got a cut in sparring. Catterall will beat Barboza on points in my opinion. Both good fighters, but neither are particularly entertaining. Barboza is a bit underrated post-McComb fight. Awful performance, but the prep was far from ideal. Yeah, I've always rated Barboza, to be honest. But the McComb fight put me off picking him against Ramirez. I've got a weird feeling Barboza wins against Catterall or gets robbed. I think he either wins or gets robbed. And it's going to go the distance. But I've got a weird feeling Barboza wins. It's a good fight. Yeah, bro. Did you guys see Frank Warren just carrying that scorecard around, wandering? You know, that guy was probably wandering the deserts of Riyadh. You know, stopping any Tom, Dick and Harry he could come across. Talking about the scorecards. I hear he likes Chinese. See, this is the content, right? But I have to have the energy to do it, to discuss these sort of people like Johnny Fisher, like the dad. I mean, Big John Fisher, Tyson Fury. Like I really want to put the boot in on Tyson Fury, but I feel a certain kind of way because it's Christmas. I was going to make loads of videos today, just uploading them, but it's Christmas, right? It's Christmas. I was just too lazy to make them, I'll be honest. But I will probably make them on Boxing Day. We'll see how I feel. Moses Atalma versus AJ. Bro, it's too early. It's too early. Chisora has a better resume than Wilder. In terms of names he's purely faced, absolutely. I don't particularly like Chisora as a person, but, you know, if somebody's a tough cunt, they're a tough cunt, and he's a tough cunt. He's one of those fighters, one of those boxers that you wouldn't want to fuck with on the streets. Bellew has blood on his hands for how people see that Chisora fight. Facts. Facts. Oh, Labiere, thank you very much, bro, by the way. How do you rate Atalma versus Jermaine Franklin? I think that's a good fight for him. I saw your comment as well about Jonathan Rice. That's another name that would make sense. Guys who can take him rounds. That's what he needs right now. Guys who can take him rounds. You know, I mentioned Hughie Fury for Moses. I don't think that'll be a bad fight. In the sense of like a learning fight, because Hughie's not going to come onto you to give yourself, he's not going to come onto you and give you a knockout. Hughie Fury is negative. He's going to make you create your own openings. I think Hughie Fury, from a developmental perspective, would be a good fight for Atalma. Plus, they can sell it as like a low-level, sort of like a low-key domestic fight. I think Hughie Fury would make sense. Maybe like David Adelaide, then Hughie Fury. Yeah, exactly, yeah, Chisora. Thank you, Labier, by the way. Thank you very much. Chisora is like Glenn Johnson at heavyweight. Yeah, basically. Who is your fighter of the year? Do you know what, MB? I've said this for the last few years. I find it really hard these days to give anybody fighter of the year. Because most of these guys fight twice max a year. Most of these guys fight twice a year, maximum. Whereas back in the day, these guys, in the 90s, they may have fought 3 or 4 times in a year. I find it hard these days. I guess I'd give it to Usyk. I'd give it to Usyk. I'd give it to Usyk, but like, just because there's nobody else. Like 2 fights in a year, man. I think there should be some sort of threshold, like 3 fights minimum. But Gad is still dreaming of being Paris Fury. Bro, I don't want to know. I honestly don't want to know what Gareth is dreaming about. Nor do I want to see what's on his laptop. Nor do I want to touch anything that he's had his grubby hands on. Could be a doorknob, could be a keyboard, could be anything. Yeah, could definitely see Barboza winning as well, but no doubt he'll get a fair shake, yeah. Those Catterall Prograde cards were horrendous. That was a close fight, I agree. I felt he was losing Catterall until the knockdowns. But yeah, the channel's done better in the last month because I've not even put in effort, I've just made more videos. When we make effort on this channel is the day we'll turn this into a multi-million-pound bit. I'm joking. But yeah, the day we will. I do plan on eventually like making some like real, not high quality productions, but just higher effort videos in the future. In terms of like I do want to do some boxing documentary type videos in the future, like maybe on careers that were cut short, like what ifs in boxing is something I'm really like interested in. So like a guy like Ike Ibushi or fucking Edwin Valero, like documentaries on those sort of guys would interest me a lot. But we'll see. Smoking on that Gypsy Queen pack, yeah. Speaking of packs, I need to open another Stella in a minute. Almost feel for Fisher because he seems like a decent enough guy and showed heart and grit against Allen despite his other flaws. Can't root for him though, given his dad, a truly embarrassing individual, a fat mess. Couldn't have said it more poetically myself. I like Johnny Fisher himself, the fighter. Seems like a nice guy, but very limited. Very, very limited. You know, could have done with another 4 years in the amateurs, to tell you the truth. The time he's been a pro since he signed to Matchroom, would have been better off being in the amateurs, seeing different styles, travelling, not having this fanfare. I think he would have been better off staying in the amateurs, learning his craft. Some fighters can turn pro with little amateur pedigree, but you have to have attributes that are unique. We're talking about guys like Sergio Martinez, who turned pro late, not many amateur fights. Just crazy athleticism. Even a guy like Fabio Wardley more recently, who may not get to like the elite level, but he's got unique attributes. You need those sort of attributes if you're going to turn pro with little amateur experience. For the most part. Italma versus Charles Martin. Yeah, that kind of makes sense, yeah. Oh, this would be a great fight, I've never really been that impressed with Torres Jr., but I quite liked his performance last time out. I know he got caught a few times, but he looked decent. I would take Moses over Torres, personally. I would take Moses. I said this as well, Guido Vianello against Italma. That was one of my picks as well. Santa, what would you like for Christmas, young man? Frank Warren replies, Nick, I just don't get it, How on earth did Tyson not get that win? Santa, so what do you need from me? Frank, Was David Haye in the right to elbow Chisora at the Klitschko Chisora presser? Yes, he was, yeah. Chisora's got a history of violent conduct. David Haye was right, 100%. David Haye was right. Yeah, I would give it to Usyk, but again, like for me, the whole Fighter of the Year thing, I struggle when guys have 2 fights in a year. I think Fighter of the Year, most years now, these days, should be null and void or like just blank. Beterbiev is another shout, by the way. He beat Callum Smith, a former champion, albeit at 168, and he became undisputed. And I can argue, well, I think Bivol's a better talent than Tyson Fury. You could argue Beterbiev, You could argue Beterbiev. Dubois? Who's Dubois beat this year? Joshua? Hrgovic? Did he beat Miller this year as well? That's a decent run. But he's second best in his division, so... That's a good run. Yeah, Chisora has wins over Joyce, Takam, Pulev, Robbery, split decision losses against Parker and White, probably deserve to win. Wilder has a win over Ortiz, and that's it. Yeah, you're right, Chisora even has like a better winning resume than Deontay Wilder. And it's kind of crazy how things have panned out, right? So Parker, if everybody retired tomorrow, Parker gets ranked above Deontay Wilder as well. Look at Parker's resume. He beat a prime Takam who was actually decent. He beat Andy Ruiz, and he did beat Andy Ruiz, by the way. I'm not having that shit that fight was a robbery. Parker clearly won. He beat Wilder. He beat Zhang. He beat Hughie Fury when Hughie Fury was somebody, I guess. If he ever was anybody. Unlucky against Dillian White, kind of got robbed. Went the distance with Joshua. He fought everybody, Parker. He fought everybody. Parker has to be rated above Wilder. If we talk about this era's heavyweights, I think Parker has to be ranked above Wilder. I got a lot... Listen, I've had a lot of criticism for Parker over the years, but I do credit him for the level of competition. You wanted to... So did you score it to Fury, Marcy? Let me know. How awesome was it seeing that hype job Munguia getting sparked by a pillow-fisted Frenchman? I actually don't mind Munguia, I've always kind of liked Munguia, but it was a great moment. Great knockout by the old Frenchie. And I said in my post-fight review, man, like, watching that shit, without knowing the result, because I watched it the next day without spoiling the result. And I knew going in, like, the guy had no knockout power on his record. Like 4 knockouts in, like, however many fights. But the first thing that jumped out at me about that fight was in the first round, Bruno landed a couple of shots and a few shots hit gloves. And that right hand looked like it had power, like more power than his 4 knockouts would suggest. And then, bro, exactly. Yeah, man. So Michael Benson grew his Twitter account stealing other people's content, and he sells it to Turki Al-Sheikh. Fair play to him. I don't really want to see it, Hand History Vault. I kind of want to see Lomachenko retire. I kind of want to see Lomachenko retire. I'll be honest, I don't really have much interest in Lomachenko anymore. Sacrilege maybe to some people. I'm just not really interested. I'll be real. I'll be completely honest. I've gone off Lomachenko, and I have done for a while. Yeah, Opetaya Ramirez. Opetaya Ramirez has to happen next year. Undisputed Cruiserweight, yeah, that has to happen. What's up, Nora? Merry Christmas to you too. Do you think Jaime is done? Along with Dev, especially recently. Happy holidays. What's up, AMG? Munguia. He's going to have a rematch, I'd imagine, with Bruno. And we'll see. We'll see. Maybe it was just a hiccup. He's still quite young, right? He's like 26, 27, so he can rebuild, man. But he's made his money now, Munguia, following that Canelo fight. So whether he has the stomach to is another matter. But I think physically, if he wants to, he can do it. Yeah, Guadalupe, I agree. I've seen a lot of people talk about fantasy fights with Usyk following his latest win with Fury. I actually think, like, historically, if we talk about fantasy fights, I do think Mike Tyson is one of the worst stylistic fights for Usyk. I'd pick Tyson, like a prime Tyson, over Usyk. Having said that, this is going to be controversial. I would take Usyk to outbox Ali in a 12-rounder. But I think Tyson is all wrong for Usyk. Controversial, I know. The Tyson one's not controversial, but the Ali one is. Yeah, Johnny Fisher is crap. And that's not to say, by the way, that I think Usyk is, like, greater historically than Ali. They're not mutually exclusive. Thinking somebody could win a head-to-head is not saying they're greater for what they, for what they've done for the sport. Rambler, what's up? Sonny's missus probably committed adultery with Gad, and he caught them in bed together. Bro, Johnny Fisher isn't even domestic level in the UK. He's not even domestic level. Dave Allen couldn't even win a Commonwealth belt. And Dave Allen old manned that guy. Soaked up the punishment for the first sort of 4 rounds or so, and then put the beats on Dave Allen. Bro, Fisher would get fucking murdered, Hand History Vault. You're gonna try and get Johnny Fisher killed. He needs a year out of the spotlight, Johnny Fisher. Sort of 6-rounders against tough journeymen, learning in the gym. Atalma Pulev? Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've never really been that high on him either. It's more so what he's done recently. Like you said about the Makhmudov win and the good performance against Jagba. Like, he'd be an okay opponent for Atalma, I think, Vianello. I think he'll be an okay opponent. Yeah, so he could go for the English, which would be Adelaide, right? That'd be a good fight. I'd watch that. That makes sense. Hope you're well, Wayne, man, and happy Christmas, bro. Ajit Kabayel also has a better resume than Wilder. So he's beaten Chisora, Sanchez, and Makhmudov. I would rate Ortiz as better wins, to be honest, over those guys, but hey, that's just me. Again, I'm talking more of a head-to-head sense. Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, Parker's basically fought everybody apart from Fury and Usyk. And he's not going to fight Fury because they're friends, but he'll be willing to fight more or less anybody, Joseph Parker. Yeah, there's this as well with Dubois going in the ring trying to get an Usyk fight. He's fighting Joseph Parker, who is, experiencing a second wind in his career, an Indian summer, if you will. Picking off a couple of good wins back to back. So Parker's going to go in there with confidence. So he can't be overlooking Parker. And Parker, people forget, Parker is still only 32 years old. It seems like he's been around forever, Joseph Parker. But he's a hard fight. It's a good opponent. I just want to see Parker go for it. I want to see Parker go for it. I don't want to see like the Parker where he kind of like mills around the ring and doesn't do that much. I think Munguia is upset of the year, 100%. I was shocked when he got knocked out by that guy. No, he's not officially retired yet, Lomachenko. He's not officially retired yet. That's how I see it, Seagar. Like, I've lost interest in Lomachenko, I'll be honest. I've lost interest with Loma. You know, I just this is a good point, JD. Dave Allen was robbed, but I don't have much sympathy for him. He doesn't make the most out of his opportunities presented to him, excluding his last fight. Yeah, so maybe that's karma, if you believe in karma. Because eventually, he was given all this build up. He was giving like A side. He was given A side build up and whatnot, and he squandered it. When he was on the B side and actually tried, he got robbed. Yeah, Lomachenko was mad talented. Oh really? Hatman picked Usyk over Ali as well. I'm thinking stylistically, lol. I'm thinking stylistically. I think that boxer type is more kind to Usyk. I think a guy like Tyson is horrible for Usyk. I even think a guy like Riddick Bowe is more beatable, but Riddick Bowe has a skill set that is hard for Usyk as well. But I think Riddick Bowe's feet may let him down. That's the difference between him and Tyson. Like, Tyson obviously is a lot quicker on his feet to catch up with Usyk and stay close to Usyk. Riddick is not as quick on his feet. I also think Joe Fraser would be a hard fight for Usyk. Holyfield, I would take Usyk over Holyfield. I think Lennox would be a hard night's work for Usyk. I'd favour Lennox. I'd favour Usyk over Vlad. Vitali, I think, is a much tougher proposition stylistically. So yeah, I'm not saying Usyk beats every guy in the world, by the way. I'm just saying, I'm thinking about it just from a very brief head-to-head type of format. See, I think Chisora is like a bigger, stronger version of Fraser with a lot less skill, a lot more dynamism. You know, a lot less head movement. I think Fraser would give Usyk trouble. Personally. But okay, it's interesting. I thought I'd be on an island on my own saying Usyk would beat Ali. Fucking hell. I thought I'd be on an island on my own. But yeah, I mean, I don't get why... This is a problem with a lot of boxing fans, by the way. Not you guys in the chat. Like, most people in this community are quite receptive to different opinions. But what I notice about boxing, when you talk about older fighters, like from different, like previous eras, there's a lot of gatekeepers in boxing. A lot of boxing fans, these hardcore hipster types, are like gatekeepers. So if I said something like Usyk would beat Ali in a head-to-head fight, they're going to lose their shit. It's not the same as me saying Usyk is greater than Ali. It's not the same. But, you know, these guys are box rec warriors. They jerk off over numbers. They jerk off over, you know, fucking Burt Sugar and his cigar. You know, this is the level we're dealing with here. This is the level we're dealing with here. What's his name? Burt Sugar, that old boy with a cigar? You know, the boxing historian, that guy. If Fisher wasn't a heavyweight, he'd be another Campbell Hatton, basically. Yeah, he could do... Yeah, Usyk winning over Ali is fine. He could do seriously well in any era. I agree, Tyson would be difficult. But once people knew how to keep him at a distance, it was easier, yeah. I would still take Tyson over Usyk. Personally. I think Usyk may get back up and catch Mike, go back down, hurt but counter him between punches, Andy Ruiz style, after being dropped. I think Lennox Lewis could rough Usyk up based on the Tough Fury rematch. Yeah, I think Lennox is much more willing to do that. You know how people were saying that Fury needed to rough up Usyk and whatnot? Lennox was much more capable of doing that. And he had much more power than Tyson Fury as well. And unlike Tyson Fury's uppercut, Lennox Lewis's uppercut was fucking gnarly. Like, had some power, that's some real power on it. But yeah, the whole fantasy fight thing is just fun to talk about. People get too irate about it. Fisher versus Wardley. Again, hand history vault. You want to get Fisher killed. Wardley would fucking go through that guy like a doorway. Well, yeah, he reckons... so Johnny Fisher apparently, I think, done his eardrum in that fight. I would take a Talma over Torres Jr. I would take a Talma, personally. PSK, yeah, a Talma Pulev makes sense for the WBA regular belt. Frank can calm down with that beating the Tyson title reign age rhetoric, yeah. As he'll claim it's done with a fake baby belt, yeah. Yeah, I don't think they need to rush with a Talma. Obviously, there's more hype now, so they can't take too much time, but make the most of his time to actually get learning fights in. Build him up properly. I'm looking forward to that Parker Dubois fight. I can't lie. I don't usually look forward to Parker fights, but I am that one. I'd still like to see Hrgovic again. He was jobbed against Dubois. I don't really have any interest in Hrgovic. I don't think his heart's in the game. I don't think he's got his heart in the game, personally. No, he defensively, he's very open Reyest. I can't get the Jalalov knockout out of my head when he got knocked out in the amateurs against Jalalov. Like, he's so open to straight punches, quick straight punches. And even uppercuts, if you can throw an uppercut as well, he's open to that shot. But defensively, he takes so many risks. He's so aggressive. He's going to be fun. Sanchez still has something to offer, in my opinion, age permitting. Was clearly injured against Caballero. Couldn't balance with his legs. Yeah. There's no way he would have taken that fight if not for the Saudi bag. I agree. I'm not sure whether he has much left, but I agree he was injured. He didn't look right. He didn't look right. Hrgovic Wilder, that could be a fun fight. That could be a fun fight. Talma versus undefeated David Price. Yeah, exactly, Wayne Towers. Yeah, Parker, he does everything pretty well. He's got good hand speed, good foot speed, decent jab. You know, decent straight punches in general. He can mix them up when he wants to. He's got a lot of attributes, Parker. Very good chin as well, by the way. Like, very good chin. Only been stopped once due to accumulation against Joe Joyce. But, yeah, you're right. He does have a lot of attributes, Joey Parker. He does, but you're right. He's not really put it all together. Usyk would beat Marciano. If you're talking about Usyk, Marciano. I'll take Usyk over Marciano. Marciano's too small. Fisher versus Dakers would be class. For the wrong reasons. Yeah, Dakers is... He's one of those, he's one of those boxers that it's like, why even try? I'm not trying to be like nasty. He obviously trains hard and whatnot. But you're a heavyweight and you couldn't knock out a good wank. Like, you're making David Adelaide look like prime Mike Tyson. Prime fucking Joe Fraser. Certainly the best heavyweight of this generation, without a doubt. Holmes is another one that I would be very interested in seeing. Usyk Holmes. Usyk would that jab of Holmes is a problem. I think that could be a bad style matchup. Newer generation does well against older generation, in my opinion. I was watching random highlights from those times, and a lot of those guys didn't have defense, chin up, in the air, throwing bombs all the whole time, yeah. People don't like to talk about that, though. You know? Yeah, it's one of the only sports where, like, technique went backwards, apparently. It's one of the only sports. You know? Where certain fans say that, technique was better 100 years ago. Cora guys say that Dempsey would KO Usyk in 30 seconds. Yeah, these people are crazy. Yeah, nostalgia, 100%. But the thing is about boxing fans, though, like, a lot of boxing fans weren't even around for those guys. Even like Ali and Fraser and Foreman. Like, guys my age, like boxing fans my age will say it's sacrilege to say Usyk could beat Ali when they never saw him fight and they haven't watched his fights. Yeah, every sport gets better. Why is boxing different? You tell me, bro. It's crazy. Yeah, he had Bert Sugar had like aura. He's the only boxing historian in history who's had aura and charisma, because most of these boxing historian guys, I've seen them on YouTube and like social media, most of these guys are fucking nerds, can we be honest? Like Rain Man without the talent, like Rain Man without the ability to fucking count or whatever Rain Man could do, basically. Like Bert Sugar was alright though. I agree, MB. Yeah, tactically it's more developed now as well in football, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Apology. It's like saying, like if it, this is one thing about MMA fans why they're more advanced in this kind of topic about old fighters versus new generation fighters. If you said fucking name me a great UFC champion, like, okay, Chuck Liddell, light heavyweight champion of like what 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago. Chuck Liddell, legend in MMA and done a lot for the sport. But you take Chuck Liddell and you put him in today's light heavyweight division, he's getting fucking smoked like a bag of weed. He's getting smoked. Like prime Chuck Liddell against, let's say, even a prime John Jones, he's getting smoked. He's getting smoked. It is what it is. And most MMA fans would acknowledge that. It's like, yeah, of course, the technique's developed. You know, new styles have emerged. But boxing fans are very incapable of doing that for whatever reason. Let me get a beer, guys. 1 second. Yeah, bro. Yeah, exactly, Marcy. He'd use that lead hand to hold their heads like in place and down, and that fucking uppercut was savage. Bro, the uppercut he caught Vitaly Klitschko with, how that never knocked out Vitaly is crazy. That was one of the best uppercuts you'll ever see. When he fucking jacked the jaw of Vitaly. But that was a crazy shot. Crazy shot. Yeah, Lennox had a mean uppercut. But you had to bring that side of Lennox out of him. That kind of mean streak. You had to bring it out of him. Yeah, the thing is with Lewis, I think his best attribute was his ability to like adjust. And how like objective he was in the ring. In the sense of like he never really let the occasion get to him. Or like the opponent or the hype. He got caught a couple of times obviously in fights against McCall and Ratman, but yeah. Yeah, Ali's a sensitive topic for many because he's now the most beloved fighter in history. So anytime you criticize anything about him or say someone has a chance against him, people will get hurt. Yeah, exactly. That's just yeah, you're right. It's nostalgia. It's kind of like almost like a sense of programming, right? It's almost like a sense of programming. But guess what? Ali lost in his career, man. He can be beat. He could be beaten. Yeah, see, I think Tyson is the worst matchup for Usyk. Happy Christmas, Paul, man. Thank you for being here, bro. Big up to yourself. Big up to yourself, man. And you too, Mad Chad. Yeah, but the truth is, not only were people able to beat Ali, but Ali was in a lot of close competitive fights. So why is it crazy to believe that in 120 plus years of modern boxing, other guys wouldn't stand a chance? Exactly. You put it perfectly, let me ace. You put it perfectly. What's up, Dustin? Big up to yourself, bro. But yeah, I think historically, I think Tyson has one of the worst styles for Usyk, personally. And Batali as well, I think, interestingly enough, would have a bad style for Usyk. Usyk would KO Ali in the first round, not even remotely competitive. I wouldn't go that far, but I would take Usyk to outbox him. Yeah, I agree, Wayne. I agree. Marciano's not even a big cruiserweight by today's standards. Yeah, I tend to agree that athletes get better generationally as a general, but there's always an exception, like a Maradona, for example. Yeah, I agree. When I've sparred, I've been hurt to the body a lot, JD. But I've never like felt. I'm not trying to say I've got an iron chin, but I've never really been hurt to the head. But I've not really sparred without headgear, so. But yeah, I've never really been hurt to the head. I've never been dropped to a headshot. The only time where I felt the effects of like a spar to the head was after one spar against a Polish guy, some Polish kid, and had a spar with this guy, and he was like a bit of a smaller guy than me. Like he was like 5'6", and I'm like 6'1". I'm a tall, lanky, gangly guy. But anyway, I had this spar with this guy. He was kind of outworking me, staying on the inside, like tapping me around the side of the head. No crazy power or anything like that, but he landed a lot of punches. And after the spar, kind of, warmed down and done all that shit, got out of the gym, and it was dark outside, got in my car, drove home, and the lights on the roads from the cars, bro, were like penetrating my fucking brain. I swear to God. It felt like needles were going through my eyes into my brain every time I looked at light. I got home, and the same thing was persisting when I turned the lights on and whatnot. So I laid in bed and, eventually went to sleep. And even the next day, for most of the next day, any bright light would like penetrate through my eyes into my brain. So I don't know whether I had some sort of mild concussion after that. But that's the worst, I guess, head injury, quote unquote, I had after a spar in boxing. But I never got hurt, in the moment kind of thing, if that makes sense. Exactly, pound for pound boxing. Indeed, yeah. At the end of the day, these fantasy fights are opinion. We will never know who would win. Exactly, bro. So I don't understand why people get so upset about it. And in a way, it's a compliment as well to the fighters of yesteryear because you're still using them in fantasy fights. It keeps their memory alive as well, right? Again, there's so many gatekeepers in boxing. I think so many gatekeepers in boxing. I think Vitali may have the athleticism to keep Usyk at bay, and also would have the stamina to hold his own late and win on points. Yeah, I think Vitali. Again, Vitali's resume is not good, but he's another guy where I think head to head, I think that guy would give a lot of guys trouble. But I don't think Vitali's really an all-time great heavyweight. When I say he's not really an all-time great, I mean like top 10. I don't think there's a case for Vitali being top 10 or anything like that. But head to head is a different thing. What do you think about Canazales versus Pradabzdri? Oh, bro, I can't say that dude's name. Canazales, though, for me, hasn't been the same since he got knocked out by that Mexican dude, Bermudez. So I think Canazales is on the downslide. Yeah, no, I think David Hay would have knocked. I think he would have knocked out Marciano. Oh yeah, David Hay was juiced out of his mind, bro. David Hay was juiced out of his nut. Yeah, I think Chamberlain is on his way out, Stefan. And I think that being a 10 rounder also doesn't favour Chamberlain. I would take Riley just to outpoint him really. Chamberlain's a weird one, man. I like him as a person, but yeah, he's kind of stagnated. I think his finest hour was that performance against Chris Billum Smith, where he showed a lot of heart, but came up short. You got hit in the back of the head once. I swear down. Now I don't. I didn't even know it happened. I got up and went on the dance floor, and my mate told me, embarrassing, in a nightclub. Sorry, carry on. Yeah, I don't think. Sorry, I think so many people don't realise that Usyk has changed the game with his style. Future generations will look at him and be influenced by his techniques. I'm 100% sure. Yeah, and the thing about Usyk I respect is that over the post Vladimir Klitschko, we've had so much politics with like Joshua, Fury, and Wilder, like A side, B side, arbitrations, rematch clauses, this, that, and the third. So much politics, whereas Usyk has been the antithesis of that. Anyone, anytime, anywhere. Your hometown, fair enough, I'll go there. Neutral territory, I'll go there. I'll fight you. I'll fight you wherever. If I have to fight you, I'll fight you wherever. He's changed the game in terms of what we should expect of fighters. Now, whether fighters follow suit, whether they follow his lead, we shall see. We shall see. But I rate that he's set an example. He really has set an example for what a fighter should be. And what a fighter should be willing to do. Do I think Joshua Fury is still an exciting fight? Yeah, man, I'd still watch it. I'd definitely still watch it. I actually think David Hay would be dangerous in that fight early on, first half. But Usyk's stamina was even more crazy at cruiserweight. Like, his output was a lot higher. Foot speed was a lot faster. Combinations were more consistent. So I think David Hay would be dangerous early on, but I think he might get stopped if he doesn't get him out of there. I think he could get stopped in the second half, David Hay. Hatman actually picked Usyk against most of the all-time greats, except Lewis and Mike Tyson. I can see that. Larry Holmes is another one I would... if I could make any... Like, let's say I had a machine and I could make a totally realistic fantasy fight that would play out exactly as it would if it did happen. If I could make any fantasy fight for Usyk, I would be tempted to make the Larry Holmes fight. I think that would be a class boxing match, man. Just technically, like, just class. Sound like a Sky Sports commentator for class. But that would be a great fight. Just pure technique. See, Larry Holmes is another one. Here's another one about all-time greats and fantasy fights. I think a prime Larry Holmes. I know he beat Ali, right? Like a washed-to-death Ali. I think Larry Holmes, a prime Larry Holmes, would beat a prime Ali. I think a prime Larry Holmes might have beaten Mike Tyson. Might. I'm not as convinced by that one. I do think Tyson's style was trouble for Holmes simply because he could get under the jab. So I think he'd always be tough for Larry Holmes. But Larry Holmes fought in 15 rounders, right? As well. Yeah, man. Okay, so one time you got jumped. I got dropped from one right hook and I never recovered. I took a further 7 or 8 shots and my boys at the time didn't defend me. I would definitely reevaluate who my friends were if that happened. That prick Sonny quitting was probably the best boxing moment of 2024, yeah. That's up there for me as well, by the way. Kane is going to smoke his brother as well. Charlie Edwards I find like annoying, but I don't find him as egregious as Sonny. I was pleased when Sonny got set about. It's the Anatoly Lomachenko style. It's turning into my favourite style ever. Usyk and Loma are two of the most talented guys I've studied. Hope more people start adopting it. The thing is though, not everybody can, right? It's like when after Roy Jones, there was all these copycats, but a lot of guys didn't have the dexterity or hand speed or athleticism power to pull it off. Merry Christmas, boss man. Big up to yourself. Prime Larry Holmes beats most all-time great heavyweights in my opinion. He's another guy. He's like Vitaly Klitschko in the sense of like, I would pick prime Larry Holmes to beat so many all-time greats. Like Larry Holmes was such a smooth boxer to watch. Fantasy fight of the wasted potentials. Fury versus Bo. What are your thoughts? Ooh. Fury versus Bo. That's a great one. So I guess we say Fury from Klitschko, right? And Bo from Holyfield 1. I'm not sure on that one. Because could Tyson Fury hurt Bo? I mean, Holyfield did. I might take Tyson Fury on a real close points win. That'd be a great fight, though. That'd be a great fight, I think. Vlad was exceptional versus Southpaws. Yeah, he was, yeah. Yeah, I think in terms of heavyweight boxing, Larry's jab was up there. I think it might have been the best jab, actually. Because it was so varied. Like, Vlad had a good jab as well, obviously. Liston had a good jab, famously. But I'd say Larry Holmes was probably, like... I'd say Larry's jab was the most varied. So no, we was talking about this pound for pound boxing. I think Tyson is the worst style matchup for Usyk. I would take Tyson to stop Usyk. Yeah, Bo's chin weren't the greatest. It wasn't the greatest. But again, it's not exactly like Fury's a massive puncher either. But you think he'd get under Bo's skin, he'd piss off Bo with his antics. That'd be a great fight though, I think. But again, that's the comparison I would make. When people were comparing Tyson Fury to all-time greats, the comparison I would make would be with Riddick Bowe, not in terms of style, but in terms of wasted talent. Because both Riddick Bowe and Tyson Fury should have done a lot more than what they did, in my opinion. They should have done a lot more. And I know Fury's career's not over, but yeah. He's missed so many years, Tyson Fury, it's crazy. Have a great Christmas, man, Stefan. Have a good one, man. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy yourself. Have a few beers. Be merry, man. Enjoy yourself. All sports move on. Don't get 100% Wizards to leave, but I think guys from like the 70s, 80s, 90s would hang today. When I say like, I'm talking about the ridiculousness of like people saying Jack Dempsey would knock out Anthony Joshua or Vladimir Klitschko, dumb shit like that. You can watch Larry Holmes fight. Like the guy would do well. The guy would do well now. Like Larry Holmes had quite a modern style, I would say. I think Larry Holmes would do well in this era and every era after his own. Like even an old Larry would, he gave Holyfield fits, right? He beat Ray Mercer. An old Holyfield, like an old Holyfield. Sorry, an old Holmes, beat Ray Mercer, gave Holyfield fits, etc. So I think the best Usyk at heavyweight that we've seen has been the first Joshua fight, personally. Fury versus Mike Tyson. I might say Tyson on points. Mike Tyson, that is. I actually might say Mike Tyson on points. One thing we were saying about Tyson Fury before the first Usyk fight was that Tyson Fury can't defend body shots. I could see Mike Tyson, doing a lot of good body work against Fury. I'm not sure he reaches him to knock him out, I'll be honest. Yeah, it's kind of sad, Wayne Towers, that Lewis versus Mercer was only a 10-rounder. It's kind of a shame. That was a 10-rounder, and Lewis, bro, like Ray Mercer, that fight, his jab was money. He's the only guy I think. I've not seen like all of Lennox Lewis's old fights, but I've seen most of them. And from my memory, he's the only guy I've seen go jab for jab with Lennox Lewis, arguably out-jab him. But Ray Mercer had a very interesting career because he turned pro, like, he started boxing very late. I think he was in his 20s when he started boxing. And his jab was excellent. He had like a power jab, Ray Mercer. Merciless Ray Mercer, also one of the best nicknames I've heard. Merciless Ray Mercer, great nickname. Yeah, 100%. If Fury beat Joshua, among the casuals, it would give his legacy a boost. I was thinking about this earlier, about Fury's next steps, because I don't really want to see Dubois Usyk 2. If Usyk sticks around at heavyweight, I'd rather see him fight somebody different. I don't want to see another rematch. So basically, I wouldn't mind seeing Usyk fight the winner of Zhang Kabayel. But I was thinking about this earlier. What about Tyson Fury versus Daniel Dubois? What about Tyson Fury versus Daniel Dubois? Would you guys mind seeing that fight? I'd quite like to see it. If Dubois beats Parker, Fury versus Dubois. What do you guys think about that? I wouldn't mind seeing Fury Dubois. Maybe like Fury has a tune-up, and then end of summer, Fury Dubois. I wouldn't mind it, but Parker beats Dubois. Okay, interesting. I'm taking Dubois, but I think Parker's live. I do think Parker's live in that fight. Usyk versus Zhang in Beijing. Yeah, imagine that. That'd be great. Like in that big ass fucking Olympic stadium, the Bird's Nest, whatever it's called. That'd be amazing. Zhang is also very interesting because you know that guy is gonna get outpointed like almost every second of every round, but that right hook, if he could catch Usyk coming in, you know, if he could catch Usyk coming in, like maybe leaning in with that left of the body with that right hook, bro, you never know. I think Zhang is a dangerous fight for Usyk. As as low output as he can be and whatnot, I think Zhang is dangerous. I think Zhang is dangerous. I wouldn't mind seeing that. See, I'd rather Zhang beat Caballel, but I do think Caballel might win. That's how I'm feeling right now. And yeah, there's that as well. Usyk versus Parker. If Parker beats Dubois, yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that either. Again, I'd rather see Usyk fight somebody different. I'd rather see Usyk fight somebody different than another rematch. Yeah, that could be right, yeah. Yeah, he might just want to become a two-time undisputed champion, yeah. But as far as I'm concerned, he still is the undisputed champion. Like, he is the man, right? He is the man. Do you know what? Bakole is a good fight as well. Bakole is interesting as well. One thing I worry about with Bakole would be the foot speed. But that's an interesting fight. Bakole might be a very hard fight. I'd watch that. I'm kind of fine with whatever Usyk does in his next fight, you know? Whether he wants to retire or fight again, I'm kind of fine with it. I think it'll be if Usyk fights Dubois again. Right now, I kind of think it'll be a more competitive version of the first fight, but probably the same result. Maybe Usyk wins on points this time, but I think it's a dangerous fight. I do think it's a dangerous fight. I think Usyk is definitely slowing down, and Dubois is getting better. It's whether or not they've closed the gap enough for Dubois to maybe be able to hurt Usyk. I do think it's a dangerous fight for Usyk, a Dubois rematch. Not sure Bacole gets past Efe. Well, I mean, listen, we've not seen Bacole fight a big puncher. And his defense is leaky to say the least. Efe can crack with that right hand. He can really punch. If there's one thing he can do is punch. A Jagba. He's not great, but he can punch. I actually don't mind that fight. I quite like that fight, a Jagba versus Bacole. I'll be honest, I kind of fell for a Jagba. I fell for the hype a little bit when he was coming up. I quite rated him. Because I think what he does quite well. He's technically correct with how he punches. He's just so stiff, man. So stiff. But I do think that's a good fight. A Jagba versus Bacole. What's up, Chris? How you doing, bro? But yeah, Adolf, I think it would be a more competitive version of the first fight. But maybe Dubois going the full 12. But again, I'd rather, if Usyk sticks around, I'd rather see him fight somebody different. More so than another rematch. I'd rather see Usyk fight somebody different. And that's another good point actually, Mark. That's a good point. I do think Dubois' stamina might have got better as well. Dubois' stamina was never bad. Like, he never really gassed against Joe Joyce, man. He just got beat up. What's up, Phil? How you doing, bro? Joining the chat from Western Australia. What's your opinion on fighters that prefer to delude themselves that they were jobbed and refuse to accept a loss? Well, it's if you're one of those sort of guys, you're one of those sort of fighters. It's not conducive of getting better. It's not conducive for getting better, because if you actually felt you want to fight, then there's no reason to improve, right? There's no reason to go back and rectify the mistakes you made. And that's the impression I got in the Fury rematch. You know, Fury said he felt he won the first fight. When he said it all throughout the build up to the second fight, I felt he was just lying. I felt he was just saying that to save face. But seeing how he fought in the Usyk rematch, I actually think he meant it. I actually genuinely believe Tyson Fury felt he won that first fight. Because the adjustments weren't there for me. The improvements weren't there. Like, because if he actually felt he lost, he would go back and watch and try to make the adjustments. I never saw the adjustments. I saw a more cautious Fury. I saw a Fury who was more concerned about conserving stamina. But that was really it in terms of adjustments. There was no technical adjustments. There was no technical adjustment to block the left hand to the body, for example. A shot that plagued him in the first fight and continued to in the second. You know, when you're that sort of guy, you're just you're on a hiding to nothing. You know, you're not going to improve. We saw that with Deontay Wilder, with his Fury fights. A refusal to accept defeat, a refusal to accept he got bested, and we've seen how Wilder's career's gone. %, Nordic. 100%. Fury's game plan was to go the distance and claim he was robbed. Or get a gift. Yeah, basically, that's what he was hoping. I think he was hoping to get a gift. Joshua versus Buster Douglas. Well, Buster Douglas was actually a talented fighter. Again, had a wicked jab, Buster Douglas. A wicked jab. And good power. Buster Douglas was a good boxer puncher. But he had a career where he just never really took it seriously apart from one night. Basically. Because his mother died before the Tyson fight, and that kind of like made him get his head down. And he performed to his like optimal. But Buster Douglas was talented. He was a good fighter. you know, like he was giving Tony Tucker, was it Tony Tucker? It's been so long since I watched these old fights, but I think it was Tony Tucker. He was giving him a hard fight, like a real hard fight, until he just gassed out. You know, got a win over Oliver McCall as well, I think. So, you know, Buster Douglas was a decent fighter. Yo, right hook, man. Big up to yourself. Not seen you in a while, man. Hopefully you're well. Hopefully you're well, man. And Merry Christmas to you too. Yeah, I agree, Nordic. I felt Fury was better in the first fight. I felt he was better in the first fight. He was more disciplined in the second fight. But in terms of like offense, how his punches looked and flowed, I felt he was better in the first fight. Offensively, he was much better in the first fight. Much better. I said it in my post-fight review for the first fight. Rounds 4, 5, and 6 were the best I've seen from Fury in many, many years. Like, I was actually blown away almost when it was happening live. I was kind of blown away by how good Fury looked in those rounds. And I think in hindsight, that first Usyk fight may have been Fury's last hurrah at the true elite level. How do you think Teofimo's denial loss compares to Fury and Wilder's denials? I think they're more delusional than Teo. I think so as well, because Teofimo, after that Kambosos fight, was clearly not in the right place. Didn't Luke believe he won the first Wilder fight? Why didn't he... Sorry, why did he change trainer and change style for the rematch? Maybe he thought he lost the first fight. I think it was because he stumbled upon what to do in that 12th round. I think it's because he stumbled upon what to do in that 12th round, kind of by fluke almost. You know, he got dropped, and he kind of tried to get the point back, I think, almost. And he pushed Wilder back, and I think he realised it worked. I think it was almost by fluke, to be honest with you. I think he felt something in that 12th round after he got dropped and got back up and pushed Wilder back. I think he felt that, yeah, he's got this guy's... I've got Wilder's number kind of thing. Yeah, problem with Fury is that he's surrounded by people who blow smoke up his ass so much he could identify as a chimney and use the preferred pronouns, bricks and cement. Jesus. That's a very good comment. Yeah, Fury's best days in boxing are behind him. Yeah, I think so as well. And that's why, you know, people say, oh, I'm a Tyson Fury hater and all that shit. You know, this, like, modern Zoomer lingo. If you like, critique anybody, you're a hater. The reason I'm more scathing on Fury is the reason I've always said, because the guy wasted his talent. The guy had a lot of ability, and I think he pissed it up the wall, basically. He still had a good career. You know, he still had a good career, Tyson Fury, but could have, in my opinion, could have done a lot more. Now, I don't think Peter was part of the camp, but he should have been. He should have been. Because I think he was the only one to really keep Tyson Fury in check. And even he struggled, by the way. Even Peter Fury struggled to keep Tyson Fury in check, but I think he was the best guy for Tyson Fury was Peter. Personally. But, you know, such is life, you know. People waste their talent and whatnot. It is what it is. It is what it is. He's a multi-millionaire, so I'm sure I'm sure he can sleep well at night, you know? Let's not get too philosophical about it, right? I'm sure he'll sleep well at night. Yeah, it's going okay, right hook boxing. YouTube have been a little bit strict the last year or so, but it's doing alright. Yeah, he offed boxer-sized Ben, yeah, he did. Yeah, exactly, yeah. Fury just wants people around him. And yeah, but he wants people to tell him what he wants to hear. Yeah. That's the issue with Tyson Fury, I think. That's the issue with his camp. Too many yes men. Yeah, let's be real. Fury's best shape was when he was with Peter Fury. He wasn't that exciting to watch, but his condition was amazing. Almost had abs, yeah. Like his bro, his stamina back in the day was crazy. I rewatched the Vladimir fight, believe it or not, a little while ago. And that fight was as shit as I remember. It was awful. But Tyson Fury's like foot speed, I forgot how quick his feet were. Like, I've said for a while now, like going into the first Usyk fight, to me the signs have been there for a while about Fury's feet like slowing. But it's night and day. Like, if you go back and watch that Klitschko fight, the foot speed difference is night and day. It's crazy. It's night and day. Like, Fury's feet were so quick for a man of his size. So quick. It's insane. And, like, Vlad's feet were quick as well, by the way, which made it even more impressive. Vlad had quick feet as well for a guy of his size. I got the old limited ads on mine, and I thought I was very cautious. Yeah, TikTok only at the moment. Are you uploading on TikTok, Right Hook? So I don't do TikTok. To be honest, I've never used it. I've never used TikTok. Who do I think is the most dangerous opponent for Usyk right now? I'd say Dubois up there. I think Bakole's up there, and I think Zhang is up there purely for one punch reasons, one punch power reasons. You know, that counter right hook. Now, interesting, Nordic. Fury could have made up for his physical decline with stylistic adjustments, but he never really did, at least not much. Well, it's interesting you bring this point up because going into after the second Wilder fight, we heard that narrative that Fury completely changed his style, this, that, and the third. You know, an aggressive Fury. Like they were talking like this Fury never existed. Like I've seen Fury be aggressive. I saw his Channel 5 days, his ITV4 days, his early Sky Sports days. Like that version of Fury was always there. Like, that version of Fury was always there. But yeah, like, Fury against Wilder, for me it was like the old Fury, like a slower version of the old, like, Channel 5 Fury. You know when, like, Fury fought Chisora? Or, like, Steve Cunningham. If you hit a viral video, you can earn well. Much easier all round. I put in a week effort on here and flop, yeah. Yeah, YouTube, listen. YouTube, it's a hard grind. It's a hard grind, it really is. The second channel's kind of shown that to me. Which is why it kind of triggers me when I hear, like, mainstream people talking about like censorship and like cancel culture. Try doing a channel for like 4 years and getting the numbers I've got over the years, and like more or less every video is like the yellow monetization. It's crazy. But I still uploaded the whole time. Like I'm still upload and all that shit. I keep consistent because I do it because I actually like the topics I talk about. Like I like the subtopics of it. But yeah, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. But yeah, it makes me laugh when I hear about people saying, "Oh, I can't talk about this, I can't talk about that online." You can, but you just got to be prepared to not get paid. Like, you know what I mean? It's one of those, man. It's one of those. So let's say I got the numbers I got on a regular YouTube channel. I'd have had like hundreds of thousands, probably. I reckon I'd have earned like circa probably at least 250,000, 300,000 pound more over the last few years. Yeah, be making serious bank if they weren't so sensitive. Yeah, facts. But you can, yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. And I never changed my content up. I never changed it up. Like, in terms of, like, making it more friendly to advertisers. I just do what I do and is what it is, you know? I do think his punch technique did improve a bit with Sugar Hill, but not enough to beat Usyk, yeah. I agree, I think. Fury and Wilder were two peas in a pod, both delusional narcissists with sycophant fanboys. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Fury's lot were just a little less annoying. But once he beat Wilder, like, Fury was the last man standing out of AJ, Wilder and Fury. And we had to see him lose, man. We had to see him lose. Yeah, it sucks, mate. Yeah, 100%, bro. It does. It's annoying, but if I'd done this channel like years and years and years ago, like before the apocalypse, I would have made bank, but it is what it is. It is what it is. I used to be known as Fury's biggest hater on the internet. How times have changed. Yeah, it's kind of... I remember that as well, Nordic. I've been following you for a long time. And I remember when you was called Fury's biggest hater. Then all of a sudden, because you made your predictions about the Usyk fights, oh, you're a Fury fanboy. Bro, it's like, it's so jarring how people like just get in their feelings on this platform. It's so jarring, bro. Honestly. So annoying. Have a good one, Right Hook Boxing, and it's been nice to see you again, man. Have a great Christmas. These two fights, plus the Cunningham fight, made me revisit how I think Prime Hay would have done versus Luke. I used to think that Luke would be too big, too strong for Hay, but now I think Hay's speed would have got to him. The thing is, they were supposed to fight in 2013, right? What version of Hay was that? That's the thing. Like, how good would he have been? Like, he was already on the decline by then. He was already on the decline, and I saw signs of slippage in the Chisora fight. Would have been good though. Would have been good. I saw signs of him slowing down in the Derek Chisora fight, despite him getting the knockout and being the first guy to stop Chisora. But if you actually watch that fight back, man, Chisora was coming on to him, you know. Like, Chisora was finding the target, he was closing the distance, but he just walked into too much. Those days were the best though, right? Like when we had David Hay versus Derek Chisora. That was a massive fight back in the day. We don't get these sort of domestic fights anymore, do we? Where we have these sort of great build-ups. Like Froch Groves, like, was another one. Like DeGale Groves was another one. Like De Gale versus sorry, not De Gale. Groves versus Froch probably is my favourite rivalry in British boxing as it happened. Like the build up to the first fight, not the second fight, but actually the first fight was probably my most like favourite build up I've seen for a fight. Because when that fight was made, most people were under the impression that like, yeah, this is too soon for Groves. It's going to be kind of like a mismatch. Froch is going to go through him like a doorway. But Groves was so convincing in his like in the press conferences, in the interviews and all that shit, in the build up. He was so like convincing that he kind of shifted opinion going into that fight. It was a great build up, man. Groves versus Froch. How triggered he got Froch was crazy. Like, it was my favourite build-up. And I was a Froch fan as well, but like, looking back, man, it was such a great build-up. Such a great build-up. Because I used to I honestly hated George Groves back in the day. He was so like George Groves was like Weasley, right? He was so like Weasley. It's the best way I can put it. But yeah, I kind of grew to like George Groves as his career went on. And I was happy for him when he won his world title. Yeah, I also think my views on Fury were also always consistent. I always said he was supremely talented, but criticised his conduct. Yeah, exactly. See, most of these people, I think, are used to watching like fanboy channels. That's the problem. So they expect that from everybody. Yeah, Groves may have lost, but he definitely won the mind games, hands down. Facts. Yeah. Although to be fair to Froch in the second fight, Groves's trolling was a lot less effective. Yeah, it's amazing Chisora still kicking around a decade later after that pasting he received from Vitali. It's more than a decade, which is even crazier. It's like 12 years ago, isn't it? 12, 13 years ago. It's insane. You actually picked Groves in both fights. Yeah, to Nordic, yeah, some idiots were making fun of you for getting the Fury Usyk prediction wrong. But they forget that you picked Usyk to beat Joshua in the first fight, yeah. Exactly, bro, and this is the thing, like, I don't get this either about YouTube boxing, is like, when you make a bad prediction, because we've all made them, if you've uploaded prediction videos, enough of them, you've got fights horribly wrong. I don't get the whole, like, trying to troll because somebody made a bad pick, or somebody got a fight wrong. Because ultimately, if you was any better, you would be in a fucking mansion surrounded by Colombian, Cuban, Brazilian big booty bitches being fed grapes while you type your comment, but you're not. So yeah, let's come off it with that shit. Like, it's fucking annoying. That ringside episode, Rambler, of Froch and Groves. Like, yeah, when Groves said, oh, he's gonna cry. Bro, it was like it was elite television. It was great. George Groves was one of the best trolls in boxing at that time. He was such a good troll. Yeah, I've never understood it, Nordic. Like, the only difference is our predictions live on here, basically. If you upload or you comment a lot, your predictions are set in stone. Like, they're actually real. Yeah, I didn't think it was a great fight, Jordan. I didn't think it was a great fight either. Much less exciting than the first. because the people I watched it with were like excited for it because of the first fight. But yeah, they was disappointed with it. And I couldn't concentrate on it the way I would usually concentrate on a boxing match because I was like pissed out of my mind. I wasn't pissed, but I was pissed. And there's a lot of like discussions and shit in the room. So I couldn't concentrate on it the way I usually would. But yeah, it wasn't a great fight. I watched it again on yesterday. I watched it again, but Ringside was a great program. Like why DAZN haven't been like why DAZN haven't tried to recreate it, I don't know. But yeah, Ringside was great. You had a 12-round sparring session and then a bender the day before. You actually did 12 rounds like back to back to back. Like a minute break, and that's crazy, bro. Well, thank you, bro. Thank you very much, Max, man. It's much appreciated. It's much appreciated. Like, any contribution is always appreciated because you guys don't have to. So, thank you very much, man. And Merry Christmas, brother. Merry Christmas. Ed Robinson, yeah. Ed Robinson was decent, yeah. And there was that Chris Lloyd guy as well. He was decent. He wasn't on Ringside, though, Chris Lloyd. Yeah, it's too early to tell with Atalma whether he's going to get like pampered or not. We'll see. But I do like what I see from him. What I'm most impressed about with Atalma is like his how he comes across. He doesn't come across like arrogant. He comes across confident, but not arrogant. Yeah, no, Chisora White was a good build-up, Ashley. You're right. Yeah, Chisora White 1 especially was a good build-up. Who else with any recognition did Buster Douglas beat? His other best win was Oliver McCall, I'd say. Fair play, Nordic, man. How did you find the 12 rounds? How did you find the 12 rounds? Were you like Fury, trying to conserve your energy and like, you know, like tip-tapping and holding and lacing with the gloves? Or were you going hard? Fair play, man. I couldn't do fucking 12 rounds to save my life. I've never done 12 rounds of sparring back-to-back. I think most rounds I sparred in one go was 8. I think I did 8 once. But usually the max was 6 for me. Wallin, you think Wallin stops Chisora? You think Del Boy stops Wallin? I'll be honest with you two. You guys, I'm not really. I don't really care for that fight, to be honest with you. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if, like, Chisora gets a robbery win. Because I can see like Del Boy just being like lackadaisical, like he was in the Washington fight. I gassed a bit after the first two, but got a second wind, feeling better as it went along. Okay, I did a bit too much clinching though. They were all levels above me in experience. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. It's weird because I felt fitter in the 12th than the first. That's interesting. Yeah, we do. We need more boxers in Undisputed. Yeah, facts. But they're coming. I'm enjoying the game. They just need to fix the bugs. They just need to fix the bugs online. I don't care for single player. If you're a single player guy and you want a boxing game, don't get Undisputed because the career is bare bones. Apparently, it's like a sports kind of, just like a casual sports kind of career mode like game. But if you want to play online boxing, I do like that aspect of Undisputed. I think it's fun. I think the skill level is higher than Fight Night Champions online. But yeah, it's got a lot of problems still. It's got a lot of problems. But it's fun to play. It's fun to play. It's one of those games that, like, I'm fully aware it's got a lot of problems. Like, I've been robbed of so many online wins because of glitches and fuck it, all that shit. But I still keep on playing it. Now that might be because there's no boxing games right now. You know, there's no other boxing games that are new. It could be that. But I do think there's a nucleus of a good game there. I do think there's a nucleus of a good game. I do. Like, if you box the right person and they fight in a way that's not, like, cheesy, it's a super fun game. If somebody's boxing with you and, like, they're trying not to be, like, a little fucking scrub, like, abusing, like, certain meta, then it's a really fun game. It's a really fun game. But it's finding those sort of opponents. Most people just play to win, because I play ranked online, and most people just play to win, which means they'll try and use the cheesiest strat, which I do as well when I play ranked, I guess. But no, the roster is fine compared to, like, the Fight Night games. The roster is levels above. The roster is a lot better than, like, all the Fight Night games, I think. Booker Maguire is making moves in the heavyweight division. Booger Maguire. You mean Boogie 2988 or Wings of Redemption? That should be Usyk's last fight. Wings of Redemption in Ukraine. Heavyweight title. That should be Usyk's last fight. Get Wings in there. But just make Usyk wear, like, 20-ounce gloves. Pigeon. Is that Pigeon? Hang on, guys. I'm going to go for a wee. Boogie has a puncher's chance. I think Jake Paul can beat Johnny Fisher. Now, Johnny Fisher's too big for Jake Paul. Jake Paul would be like a cruiserweight, right? Pretty much. Yeah, I've only watched it twice. Once, like, pissed up, and the second time just watching it casually, not scoring. I do need to do like an official score. Like, for me, when I watched it, like, I just kind of vaguely thought, yeah, about 8-4, in Usyk's favour. Nah, Johnny Fisher is pretty bad. I reckon if we get Nordic up to, like, heavyweight, like 200 pounds, bang on, pump him full of steroids, he'll probably beat Johnny Fisher. Oh, did you actually hear that? That's my bad. I got some loud piss. Jesus Christ. That's that stellar piss, man. That's that potent stellar piss. That's what it is. Who do you think will discard who first? Sky or Eddie? Sky, I reckon. She is like low key, like one of well, she might be the only like I think she's the only female boxer that I find like somewhat attractive. Is Sky Nicholson. Oh yeah, True Geordie's doing this boxing shit now, isn't he? Have you noticed this actually? I've not brought this up, but have you noticed a lot more boxing channels now on YouTube? Like, when I say boxing channels, I don't mean like hardcore channels. I mean like casual channels who talk about like the big fights and whatnot. I've noticed a lot more of those sort of channels now. A lot more. There's a lot more boxing channels now that have like 20, 30, 40, 50,000 subs. Which is good. But it also means that, like, I know that I need to, like, step up the production. Like, I'm doing it, like, 2010 style still. But, yeah, there's a lot more channels now, I've noticed. A lot more boxing channels that are doing well as also in terms of views. They usually talk about like so they'll make videos like how good was David Haye actually, like videos like that. You actually scored Fury Usyk a draw on the night but was drunk. Yeah, so there was 5 of us watching, and we counted. We got through 87 bottles of Corona, believe it or not, between 5 of us, which is kind of insane. I mean, it's not really insane, is it? What's that, like 12 pints? If I had to guess. Maybe 11 pints. That's not that bad. 11 pints between us all. Yeah, that's not bad. There was 5 of us watching too. We all had Usyk winning. Yeah, so did we, bro. So did we. And I was watching with, like, no disrespect to my friends, but casuals. And one of the guys I didn't know, so it was like a friend of one of my friends. And you know when, like, so you know if you're like a boxing autist like us, like we're all basically boxing autists, right? And you know when you hear a casual say something that is so ridiculous and so retarded and so dumb you want to say something, but you just don't because you're going to look like a fucking, like a cunt. I had one of those moments. So this guy was talking about fights he'd seen and like, oh, I'd seen like, yeah, Nigel Benn versus Mike Tyson. And it's like, bro, what? And like he had a signed poster of Nigel Benn versus Mike Tyson. I'm sure you do, bro. And I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything, but this is the levels here. This is the levels. I had a signed poster of Mike Tyson versus Nigel Benn. I kid you not. I kid you not. This is what we have to deal with when we watch fights with casuals. I don't say anything. I just don't say anything. I don't say anything. being a casual at everything in life is more enjoyable than being an autist. You're probably right there, bro. That's probably why we get so triggered about boxing, because we are fucking autists. We are autists, right? I wish I could be that way inclined about life in general, just be a casual about everything. Politics, culture, everything. I wish I could be that way inclined, but because it would switch off a lot of worries, I guess, right? An Uber driver told me that Fury is a much better person than Anthony Joshua. I think they're both clowns, I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't really want to hang around with either guy, Joshua or Fury, I'll be honest. Like, if I wouldn't really want to share a beer with one of them. And that's the litmus test, right? If you've got like a pair of working bollocks, like, would you want to share would you want to share a beer with such and such a person? If the answer is no, then he's probably a cunt. One of my mates who watched it with us is a hardcore MMA fan, and he mentioned they wear pillow gloves several times. Yeah, so again, it's funny you say that. This is how I know the other guy who was like the casual boxing guy who I was talking about the Nigel Benn Mike Tyson poster, obviously fake and gay. But he also said, he basically said the same thing, but I knew he was also bullshitting here as well. So I'm a much bigger martial arts guy. I trained in martial arts, K1 and that. K1's kickboxing, bro. What are you talking about? Yeah, Usyk seems like good fun. He seems like good crack. Like, even though the language barrier's there, he seems like a good laugh. Would you share a beer with Del Boy? Yeah, because if he liked me and I got in trouble in the club, then I'm sorted. So yeah, I would. If you get on Chizora's good side and you get in a bit of trouble and he's out with you, you're sorted. So yeah, I would. You would. Yeah, I would. Fuck it. Yeah, Simon Jordan is like that. Just yesterday, he said that Fury could be an all-time great, but Usyk couldn't. Fucking muffin walloper he is. Would I have a beer with Gareth A. Davis? Absolutely not. Because I don't know what he's put in the beer. I certainly wouldn't let him buy me a beer, let me tell you that. I certainly wouldn't let him buy me a beer. But yeah, someone like Chisora or Dillian White, I think if you get on their good side, they would. If you got in trouble, they would scrap. Yeah, Luke wouldn't come to your rescue, as we saw with Billy Joe Senior. Yeah, I know, right? But I don't really like Chisora as a person. I'll be honest. He's a bit of a weirdo for me. Bit of a weirdo. I don't mind Dillian White though. I'd swap out Chisora for Dillian White. Because although there was a lot of bullshit with Dillian White's career, I don't think he comes across as a bad guy, personally. I think he comes across quite sound. Somebody who's got a bit of banter. What's up, Legacy over Currency? How you doing, man? How you doing? Happy Christmas, man. Yeah, there's a lot of skeletons in Chizora's closet, right? Gareth A. Davis would somehow get you pussy in the club. They'd probably be roofied, but hey, that's Gareth A. Davis. Pretty much, bro. Pretty much. Pretty much, man. That guy's a weirdo. Don't be surprised, by the way, if he gets outed for being like a creep soon. I've heard some things about Gareth A. Davis from people in the industry, by the way. I'm not joking either. I'm not joking. I've heard some things. Trusted sources. Not even joking. Whether they're true or not, we shall see. But usually you should judge a book by its cover. He's a creep, that guy. He's a creep. But yeah, man. I mean, he is what he is. He's just one of these paid shills that are in boxing media. Yeah, I've got a lot of time for not Gareth A. Davis. I've got a lot of time for Joe Stunner. He's a really good dude, man. I like his channel a lot. I think I've spoken to him maybe a couple of times. But yeah, he's got a good channel. Joe Stunner, really good channel. Yeah, it's like 3 times he's posted a porn link on Twitter instead of linking an article and then claimed he got hacked. Jesus Christ. Have I ever been barred from a pub? So, we had a misunderstanding once where we temporarily got barred for something we never done, which got reversed. So no, not really. No, I'm a good drinker. When I drink, man, I don't get rowdy like that. To be honest with you, the only time I've ever like got rowdy when I've had a drink is if like I've gone into a night where I'm in a terrible mood. That's happened on maybe like a couple of occasions like maybe one occasion. And even then I didn't fight. I just got like on the verge of a fight kind of thing. So now when it comes to like having, letting my hair down, having a few drinks, I'm a good drinker like that. I'm not like I don't get aggressive or anything like that. Do you think Gareth A. Davis is a Mason? How is this guy relevant in the sport? I know, right? He could be a funny handshake merchant. There's no doubt in my mind that Ben Shalom is. He absolutely is. But the less said about that guy, the better. Would you consider living on Mars if it ever becomes a likely in your lifetime? No, fuck that. I'd rather stay here and sink with the ship. I'd rather stay here and sink with the ship. Nicer person, Parker or Usyk. Oh, God. They both seem... listen, man. They both seem like chill dudes. Got a lot of time for both of them outside the ring. Most woke person in boxing, Ben Shalom. Ben Shalom purely for the product he's putting forth. Ben Shalom. If you had a choice to have a drink at the bar with Gareth A. Davis or Simon Jordan. Oh, Simon Jordan. 100%. Because at least Simon Jordan could tell you stories about like fucking running Crystal Palace or dumb shit like that. He could tell you some stories at least. Like Gareth A. Davis, what's he gonna do? Tell you the time when he sniffed fucking Ebony Bridges' seat after a press conference. What's he gonna tell you? Simon Jordan, 100%. Yeah, and Colin Hart was bad, bro, but like... not as bad as Gareth A. Davis. That's a good question. Whose opinion do you value the most in boxing in terms of pundits? Well, regardless, I disagree with every pundit on some occasions, right? But maybe Malignaggi. Maybe Malignaggi. Maybe Malignaggi. Maybe Duke McKenzie. I think Duke McKenzie is quite good. But probably Malignaggi. Yeah, it means we got to put up with Gad for another 20, 30 years. Gareth A. Davis. He's become, in the last few years, like a quasi-celebrity, right? Gareth A. Davis. It's kind of crazy. He's become like a Z-list celebrity. He's a fucking weirdo, man. He's a fucking weirdo. He looks like James May, like a cloned version of James May who's got like, I don't know, the guy's a fucking weirdo. Those blue tint glasses he wears, man. Absolute fucking weirdo. I mean, look at the state of this guy, man. Seriously. I wouldn't trust this guy to run a bath. Hang on. How do you change this shit? 1 second. I mean, look at this guy. I mean, just look at this guy. You know when certain people hide in plain sight, and when they get caught for a certain thing, it's like, oh, how did nobody know? Exhibit A, Your Honor. Exhibit A. Look at the state of this guy. Gad is like James May, who just discovered U2. Gad in the jungle. He's Bono meets your local FBPE rally, yeah. Yeah, it doesn't really matter, bro. If a fighter retires, he retires, man. It's like the sport carries on, man. The sport carries on. And it's carried on after far more significant fighters than Tank Davis, Ali, Mike Tyson, Duran, Leonard, Holmes. You know, it's gonna carry on, man. I don't think it's really gonna make a big difference. I'll be honest, because you know it's just we need to see him in these fights with the likes of Teofimo and Shakur Stevenson and people like that. You know, even Devin Haney still I'd still like to see that fight. Ryan Garcia, even a Ryan Garcia rematch would sell, man. Like Ryan Garcia at 140, why not, man? But this is basically it. Yeah, boxing's going to carry on. It doesn't matter if a fighter retires. Exactly. Yeah, 100%. But I want to see him in those sort of fights. You know, okay, so Gareth A. Davis is like, he's like James May's brother, who's like the black sheep of the family, you know? That's what he's like. Like, James May is like the favourite. He's the guy who done Top Gear and, you know, done his thing. Whereas Gareth A. Davis is like a creepy boxing journo who sniffs seats and does all that madness. I'm convinced. I'm convinced that these blue glasses are like a fashion choice. I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it. I mean, if this guy, like... Yeah, I wouldn't trust this guy to do much. Let me tell you that. If there's any, like, fathers in the chat, would you trust this guy to look after your son or your daughter? You know what I'm saying? Maybe the guy's the nicest man in the world, but I don't know. I've heard some things about him. Is he more of a cuck than Dev Sani, though? See, Dev Sani, though, I just think Dev Sani is just playing, like, purely playing a role. Like, I think he knows, like... You know when there's people who are aware of the fact that they're being a jester and they're being a joker? I think Dev Sani's aware of what he's doing. I don't think Gareth A. Davis is. I think that's the difference. I think that's the difference. Like, he knows he's super cringy. He knows he's like a super lick ass. I think he's just playing that role. Yeah, he's paid to be a lick ass, basically, is what Dev Sani is. But I think he's kind of developed a character for himself to kind of do that. But I think it's by design. I don't think Gareth A. Davis is by design. I think that's just Gareth A. Davis. He's a creepy weirdo. Whereas away from boxing, I think Dev Sani is probably just a normal guy. Away from boxing, this guy's still a creepy weirdo. Gareth A. Davis. Yeah, that's the impression I get with Dev Sani. Like, he's clearly trolling. That's the impression I get. I think he's trolling. He's having some fun with it. Fair play to him. He's getting paid. But, like, Gareth A. is a weirdo. No, I didn't see it. I didn't see it, Colin. Speaking of that Lapin guy, you know the other Lapin, the actual fighter? So there's the Lapin, the trainer guy, and there's Lapin, the fighter. That guy sucks, by the way, that fighter. He's basically Usyk's Isaac Lowe. He's what Isaac Lowe is to Tyson Fury. Sergey Lapin. Or Daniel Lapin, yeah. Daniel Lapin, yeah. Yeah, he sucks. I've seen him a few times now, and I don't really rate him. He's got, like, the physique, like, the tall, rangy physique. But I don't rate him, I'll be honest. No idea what happened with Michelle Joy Phelps. I think she went the route I kind of predicted, by the way. I did say a while ago. She's on OnlyFans, apparently. But I said back in COVID days when she was moaning about, like, the promoters not paying for her lifestyle while there's no boxing. I said this woman's going to end up on OnlyFans in 2020. And here we are. I predicted this OnlyFans before it happened. I predicted. I called it. I called it. I called it. It's not exactly a prediction that took any real intelligence because it was obvious, but still. All I'm saying is, all I'm saying is, did we ever find out who purchased Ebony Bridges' underwear? Am I the only one who doesn't find her that attractive? Like, when I say that, I'm not saying I wouldn't bang her. Like, if she offered it on a plate, I would. But, like, she's not that hot, is she? Am I the only one? Like, what do you reckon? I'm just not a fan of that type of shit. Like, you would. Like, if she offered it out and you're single, like, you would. But, I mean, that's not exactly a high bar with me. Like, I've been with some monstrosities in my time, let me tell you. You know, we've all been there when, like, you second guess yourself all the way through it. And once you've done it, you realise you're a fucking degenerate piece of shit. Like, we've all been there. We've all been there. Obviously still hit. I hit a month of this evening. Not into fake tits either. Do you give Grabomir a chance versus Zakole if it happens? Yeah, apparently that whole shit came from a fake Twitter post, by the way. Someone basically made a fake Michael Benson account after he sold his, and they're like tweeting in the style of Michael Benson, but like putting out a load of bullshit. But nah, it's not gonna happen, man. And Vladimir's too old. He's too old. I wouldn't bang her if she paid me. Listen, I would. Even if she didn't pay me, but... Man needs a dog. Man gets a dog from the pound. Charity rescue service. Any grannies? No. Listen, what do you take me for, crazy D3? Do you take me as some kind of ultra degenerate? Like some mega degenerate? What do you take me for? What do you take me for? Yeah, Ebony's one of those you could do nasty, nasty shit with, but you wouldn't date her for too long. Yeah, facts. Facts. But would she really be like that nasty though? Like, now she's kind of like experienced the high life of and being famous in it. Well, quasi-famous, I call it. Would she really like be that nasty anymore? Anna blowjob signals. Yeah, she was another one. Anna Woolhouse. I never really saw the appeal in. She's like too skinny for me. She's too skinny. Like, I saw her, no disrespect to her, like, she might be a nice person. But I saw her on the boxing, like, on the Fury Usyk fight. And she looks like a skeleton now. Lizzo too skinny for Dell. That time of night. That time of night indeed. We're talking... The Stella glasses are coming on. The old Stella glasses. Yeah, Maya Jama is a very, very good-looking woman. Without a doubt. I've heard Gareth has a younger girlfriend. How young? Laura Woods got washed overnight? I mean, I still would, but... She's like Mike Tyson. Just like shot very quickly. Why does it always devolve into like talking about this smut, by the way? Why does it always devolve? We talk about boxing, we talk about like fantasy fights and Usyk and Fury. You know, bringing up gems because I'm a boxing encyclopedia of like, you know, Buster Douglas beating Oliver McCall before he beat Tyson, all that shit. And then we talk about this shit on Christmas Eve as well. On Christmas Eve as well. Always happens, doesn't it? It always happens. We are indeed. We are indeed. We are all degenerates in a way. We're all born sinners, right? We're all sinners. We're all sinners. Yeah, I remember Lebedev's chick. Yeah, she was crazy good looking. I know what you're doing there, MB. I know what you're doing there. Oh yeah, facts. Yeah, Mr. Yeah, sorry, Mr. Luca. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, the Tyson Fury fanboys. They're in denial. It's like those what is it? 5 stages of grief or 3 stages of grief, whatever it is. They're in the denial phase. Yeah, I rate Usyk's wife because she stays out of the limelight. I liked Erislandy Lara's chick as well, though. If you remember her. I wonder what's happening in that Fisher in the Fisher house right now. I like Peterviev's wife. She stays at home in the kitchen wearing a burqa. Yeah, Cuban women are good. Thing is, we don't really get Latin women in the UK. Like, there's some Spaniards, but like, yeah. There's a few Colombians in like big cities and Brazilians, but we don't really have a big contingent of like Latin American women here. That's great. There were 3 people who scored at 8-4 to Tyson in our boxing gym, and the head coach put them on sprints all of Monday night session. That's a great coach right there. That's a great coach right there. I've gotten them here in Holland, but they're mostly escorts. I mean, you got to do what you got to do, right? I've actually never used an escort, by the way. But I'm not judging. I'm not judging. I'm not judging. You're stimulating the economy, right? What are my thoughts on John Fisher Sr.? Kind of like a sign of the times, I think. Kind of a sign of the times. I say that I can't really be talking shit about Johnny Fisher when I'm sitting here talking about fucking all this degenerate shit. Yeah, Latinas are the best. Yeah, I kind of want to experience that, you know? I remember that on Mark's channel, man. The old reviews. Some guy using my name to review escorts. Bro. Those were the days of like boxing content for me, man. Like 2018, 2019, 2020 times. Those were the days of boxing content when like, so me and Unrivaled would do a lot of streams together. Nordic as well. We would do streams together. We can all do it. Like me and Nordic could do it again, but so much fun, so much fun. I do kind of feel like I do want to get back involved in the whole boxing thing again. But I know I need to put a lot more effort into it. Like, but we'll see. Nah, I haven't, bro. I haven't. One of the boys asked what my plan was. Now me and the bird broke up when I was out in the States. I booked a week in Prague. That sounds like a good idea, man. Sounds like a good idea. Do you know what? I'd like to do a solo travel, man. I've never done a solo travel to like abroad. I kind of want to do it, like a solo week somewhere, even like a long weekend, like would do me. So like maybe start somewhere like just Amsterdam or somewhere like that. But I feel like on my own I'd get in fucking trouble. Like, do you know what I mean? Crocker versus Donovan. I've got Donovan, personally. I don't really rate Crocker that highly. Like, he's a good workman-like fighter. But I think Donovan's got a little more X factor to his game, and I think he's bigger as well. I've got Donovan. You went solo for the Usyk fight in Poland. I'm not going to try and say that name. Washlow? I ain't going to try and say it. Oh, you think... Okay, you think Crocker beats Donovan. Interesting. You know more than me in regards to those guys. A solo trip to Medellin. Problem with that is I don't know if I'd come back. Either I won't come back because I'll go missing, or I won't come back because I like it too much. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, Colombia would be an ideal place. Like, there's something about a Colombian woman speaking English. The accent is so like fucking something about it. Like, there's this video on Twitter a little while ago about like it was just like highlighting some Colombian like woman who was a babysitter, and it was like, bro, like that marriage is not gonna last if she's the babysitter. It's just not gonna last. It's not gonna last. Because the Colombians, like, they're not as... They got that Latin, like, that spicy Latin energy, but, like, they're more feminine with it for me. But... Come visit Sweden. I'll show you around. I'll go Sweden. I'd go anywhere, bro. Within reason. I'd go anywhere. I've always kind of wanted to go to Russia as well. Not even for like a woman, for females either. I'll be honest. So like low key, I'm kind of fascinated about like Soviet history. So that whole time period, I'm kind of fascinated by the whole Soviet Union, from like the Russian Revolution, all throughout the Soviet Union. You know, I'm kind of fascinated by that time period for whatever reason. It's politics that obviously like I hate, but I'm still fascinated by that region and that time and that timeline. And like, so I don't do like New Year's resolutions, but I do want to read some Russian literature next year, just like the basics. I think I'm inclined to Eastern European birds, anything east of Germany. I wanted to go to Kiev and Moscow, but then the war happened, yeah. Eastern Europe has the best faces. Latin America has the best bodies. I think I agree with that. I think that's pretty sound. I think that's a pretty factual statement. Schools in Luton taught you about the Soviet Union. I'm surprised. Nah, they didn't, bro. So history when I was a kid, I didn't really like history. I've always liked geography, but I never really liked history. History is one of those things that I've become more interested in as I've got older. But like my interest in history is like kind of focused on the 20th century, like exclusively. Can't find a wiki of Gad. Bit sus. Could be a globalist toady. Yeah, history. I don't really remember what we learned in history at school. I don't really remember. I don't think we really touched World War II or anything interesting like that either. Like World War II I'm fascinated by. I do like looking into World War II. I know it's like fucking super like cliche and like an obvious thing to look into, but it's so fascinating. So did I, Colin. I left school in 2010 as well. I left at 16. I went to college after for a bit, but I need to read it. Like I'm not even memeing. I need to read it. I do need to read it. I'm one of those people. Like I'd want to read anything like that, whether it be like Mein Kampf or fucking Communist Manifesto. I want to read all that shit. But it's just time. So I'm one of those people. I'm always fascinated, even by like ideologies that I despise, or I dislike, or don't agree with. I'll still want to read about them. But yeah, that's one thing I need to. So I've kind of got more interested in history as I've got older, and what I need to do now is actually start to like read literature and instead of just relying on documentaries, articles, and things like that. I do need to read like just proper literature. Is 9/11 taught in schools in Europe? Not for me. It wasn't. Whether it is now, I don't know. I doubt it, but oh, thank you, Matt. By the way, just got in, fucking battered from Christmas Eve pub crawl with the boys. So late to this one. Big ups, bro. Well, thank you, Matt, man, and Merry Christmas, man. Merry Christmas. Yeah, I wasn't planning on going live tonight, man. I wasn't planning on going live, but I kind of got my shit done. I was working today as well. Got my parents' presents wrapped, my brother's present wrapped, and all that shit. So I thought, fuck it, why not do a stream? I haven't done one in a while, like a proper stream. Thank you, Matt, man. Big up. Colin, what do you recommend as like an introduction? Like I know like the books that like like the Gulag Archipelago and things like that. I know I've got to read that and things like that. But like what would you recommend as like a first book? Like a first book to get into it kind of thing. What's your favourite rabbit hole to go down in your spare time? Um Again, I'm kind of like I do think I'm probably slightly autistic, but not in like a way in which is going to make me successful. But I get obsessed with certain things at certain times. So like my most recent one was kind of being obsessed with like how the Russian Revolution came about, um, and the literature that kind of almost kind of put it into motion. So the literature came obviously in the 19th century, and I guess maybe 19th century, and obviously the Russian Revolution happened in 1917, and yeah, it's just a whole Russian Revolution shit, and how communism took its hold in Europe. That's one that I've kind of went down a rabbit hole recently. I'm not going to talk about it because I'll get myself cancelled. But yeah, just dumb shit, right? Random shit. Am I religious? I believe in God. I believe in God. I'll leave it at that. I'm still kind of figuring that out. Yeah, that's just one of those things, Mr. Luca. It is what it is at this point in time. I think these people have to recognise it's a global sport. Um, they're stuck in the past, ultimately, Mr. Luca. They're stuck in the past. If you're into plays, The Cherry Orchard isn't a terrible start. Demons was my first Russian novel. Something changed for me. But one day on the paddleboard last summer, the belly had gone and I felt comfortable taking my shirt off. Marcus Aurelius Meditations is a good read. Yeah, that's one thing I need to like I need to start getting into reading a little bit more, I think. I need to start getting into reading a little bit more. Like maybe like Colin said, like read a little bit every night before you go to bed. That sort of thing. Because everybody can do that. So when I go to bed, like I go to bed and I'll like scroll on my phone for half an hour. Like instead of doing that, I can just read a book, right? Like there's always like I think it will definitely be beneficial if I do start to read more. Apparently Marcus Aurelius was getting cucked. Yeah, 100% Wayne Towers, 100% I agree, yeah. I think that's just the way of boxing though, right? When like an A side loses, I think that's always the discussion, right? Why he lost instead of why the other guy won. Yeah, that's me basically, cop end. Yeah, I have tried like in the past, but a long time ago. I'm probably more mature now, so like maybe I'll give it another go. I say I'm more mature, but here I am talking about absolute nonsense. Merry Christmas apology. Yep, it's just turned 12 o'clock. So it is officially Christmas Day. It's officially Christmas Day, so Merry Christmas to you guys. Well, it's Christmas Day here in the UK at least. Yeah, we was talking about this earlier, Cop End, and that's fair enough. If you have that opinion, that's fair enough. But a few months ago, Tim Bradley said, "Oh, but I can't think of many heavyweights in history who beat Tyson Fury." And then now Usyk beats this guy twice, despite being much smaller in terms of like height, reach, weight. Beats Fury both times convincingly. Nah, he's not an all-time great though. It's like, okay. Yeah, I spend a lot of time going back and forth from the UK and Japan. Books are a must on the flights. Oh, that's interesting. Do you work in Japan, Wayne? Do you do work in Japan? But yeah, did you guys see Boashuk versus what's his face? Ishmael Davis? Boashuk looked quite decent. First couple of rounds, I felt Davis did okay. To be honest with you, I felt Davis basically did as okay as he could have done. First couple of rounds, I felt Davis looked decent, but yeah, he just couldn't keep up with the pace, could he? And he couldn't deal with that power. As soon as he got caught. Merry Christmas, Al. Have a good one, bro. Merry Christmas. Yeah, Boashuk is what he is. Really crude and raw. Davis was a good stand-in, yeah. Yeah, Davis did basically as well as he could have done, I think. Like, he showed a little bit of quality here and there, caught Boashuk with some decent shots, but ultimately just got outworked and ground down. And beat up. So, it was one of those. It was one of those. But I think Ishmael Davis, with a full camp, is a decent domestic fighter. So, like, the fight he had with, what's his face, Josh Kelly, again, another late replacement. He came in at, like, a few days' notice. Like, that was a close fight with Josh Kelly. I think with a full training camp, Ishmael Davis would beat a guy like Josh Kelly. I think he's at that sort of level, just a little bit better than Josh Kelly. There's a New Year's card, Cop End. There's a New Year's card. It's Ioka versus Martinez 2. So Ioka is trying to avenge his defeat. I think Martinez gets him again. Thoughts on Nick Fuentes? I think he's a little bit of a plant. And also blatantly in the closet as well, let's be honest. He's blatantly in the closet, that guy. In my opinion. Yeah, Nakatani's up there for me. Nakatani's up there. I mean, he's apparently going to fight Teofimo. That's what they're talking about. They're in negotiations for Teofimo versus Matthias. That'll be interesting. Because I know Matthias is coming off a recent loss, but like Teofimo didn't look good against Steve Claggett, whatever his name was. Oh, nice. You're an engineer from Kawasaki Heavy Industries Limited. Plus, my wife is Japanese. We have a little daughter. I'm from Newcastle upon Tyne. Hard graft, but great. Got to see a New Age fight there. Nice, man. That's sick, man. That's great. Now I'm pleased to hear you're doing well, man. Pleased to hear you're doing well. And happy Christmas to your family as well, man. Big up to yourself. Nakatani is a good offensive fighter, but he's got a leaky defense. I don't know what happens to him as he goes up the weight classes. Yeah, he's kind of been, he's always been the bigger man, so he's not really had to feel the effects of that leaky defense as of yet. But I get what you're saying. As he goes up as he goes through the weights, It'll be interesting. It will be interesting. He may need to make some adjustments, but the offense is there. Good punch power, good accuracy, good counter punching as well. If Matthias comes to win, he'll knock Tio the fuck out. Ooh, interesting. Listen, I think Tio would have a good chance, but if Matthias is on form and Teofimo is not feeling like, happy and, because we know what Tio's like, right? He's a bit of a mental midget. Like, if he's not feeling it, I wouldn't want to fight Matthias. If Matthias has his back up and he's, wants that title back and Tio's not on it, bro, I wouldn't want to fight that guy. Right, I'm going for a piss again. My bad. You're probably going to hear me piss as well. Sorry about that. Thoughts on Chisora versus Wallin? I'm thinking Wallin UD is likely. Yeah, I don't really like the fight, Larry, to be honest with you, against this version of Chisora. I think it could be dull. I think it could be messy. I think it could be boring. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a robbery for Chisora. Do I agree with the stuff he says? Thanks for answering. I mean, to a degree, like foreign policy, yeah, but like the rest of it's pretty much bluster. I actually think Opataya versus Nika is a good fight. So do I. Like, for a late replacement, it's a good fight. Salute, Wayne, man. Big up to yourself. To beat Matthias, you need to clinch and foul like Paro. Yeah, facts. But one thing about Tio, I think he does hit hard, but it's whether he's not hitting as hard at 140 as he did at 135. It's whether he has the power to hurt Matthias. Because if he can't hurt Matthias, then he could be in for a world of trouble. He could be in for a world of trouble. Neither do I, Matt. I don't get the Wallin opponent as a match. It doesn't make any sense. Chisora's on the basically retirement tour, right? He's got 2 more fights left apparently. So like, why would you pick a guy, a southpaw who's awkward and negative, in Otto Wallin? It doesn't make sense to me. New time booth pissing on stream. Yeah. Yeah, Jalalov is fighting soon, right? I'm sure I saw he's got a fight scheduled. He's 30 years old now, Jalalov. Turns 31 in July. He's a couple of months younger than me. He needs to get a move on. He's fighting David Spielmont in February. in Canada. Oh, Canada. I mean, that's not the sort of fight we want to see. This is a guy who got beat by Alan Babbage not so long ago, you know. We got to be he's got to be stepping up. Yeah, other than money, there's literally no reason for Chisora to carry on boxing. I just think he's one of those guys who's addicted to it, man. Because apparently he's well off. He's not like broke or anything like that. I've not heard that anyway, so I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what he's doing, man. Thank you, Emmanuel, man. Big up to yourself. Thank you, and Merry Christmas to you too, sir. Chisora against a negative southpaw. Just have him chin some Eastern European dude with one eyebrow. Exactly, yeah, facts. Have him fight fucking... Get Makhmudov in there. Get Makhmudov in there. Fuck it, why not? Get Makhmudov, get Vianello, or... Not Vianello maybe, but Makhmudov, fuck it. Yeah, I agree, Colin. I agree. I think so. Listen, man, they should knock this like Tyson thing on the head. This whole youngest ever champion, because it's not going to happen now anyway. He doesn't have enough time. But you know, just take your time with him. Like there should be no talks of Moses Talma fighting for a heavyweight title anytime soon. So, like, if I was the matchmaker, I would have him fight a fight in which is, like, a bit more notable next. So, I would make maybe David Adelaide next, who's beatable, but, like, it would be, like, a big domestic fight. It gets him used to the spotlight. Maybe have him fight an Adelaide next. Following that, a guy like Hughie Fury, who's not going to beat Moses. Hughie's not going to beat Moses, but he will make him work for a stoppage. Hughie is negative. He's got a good chin, but he's not going to win rounds at this stage, I don't think. I think Hughie Fury would be a good learning fight for Moses to get the rounds, to create his own openings, to get creative with his offense. I think Hughie Fury could be a good learning fight for Moses in the near future. Personally. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we don't really know anything about Atama's durability and stamina, but he's winning all the fantasy fights. Yeah, listen, there's no doubt about it. I find what I find impressive about Atama is the mentality. He doesn't seem he doesn't seem overly gassed with his success or like overly big-headed, which I like. That's one thing I do like. I think that will stand him in good stead. He seems quite mature for a guy of his age. So I think that's working in his favour, but he needs matchmaking. He needs rounds. Yeah, Chisora's addicted to it, which I respect, but man, for his health, he needs to call it a day soon, yeah. Yeah, facts. Yeah, Chisora, bro, but you know, it goes to show the whole unbeaten record thing, and you know, being this unbeaten kind of whiz kid, man. It's like you don't need to do that to make money in boxing. You don't need to. Like Chisora's a multi-millionaire, God knows how many times over. Like he's done well for himself, man. Is that even like a guy like Gabe Rosado? Gabe Rosado, he earned a good living out of boxing. For a guy who was never world class, but he always came to fight. Like if you're one of those guys, you can make money. If you're at a good enough level, but not elite, you can make money. Chisora's brain is complete mush at this point. Sounds like Scooby-Doo, yeah. Listen to listen to an interview from Chisora, like, let's say in the build-up to the Vitaly Klitschko fight, and listen to him talk now. It's kind of crazy. The difference is apparent. I agree. I want to see Murtazaliev and Bakole fight again soon. Who would I favour, Dubois or Bakole? Probably Dubois because of Bakole's defense. I'm not saying Dubois' defense is great, but I'd favour Dubois, but it'd be a good fight. And if Bakole won, I wouldn't be like super shocked. Yeah, so they could get Pulev's regular title and claim to be the youngest ever heavyweight champion, but listen, this is the way I see it. If they were serious about becoming the youngest heavyweight champion, they should have just made a Talma versus Dubois. If you want to do it somewhat properly. And even then, it's like, well, Usyk is for real champion, but still, at least do it with a real belt. I don't think they should do it with like the regular title because if they beat Pulev, then there's going to be so much expectation. Like he needs learning fights, in my opinion. He needs learning fights at Talma. Peter would never let Huey be a stepping stone, in my opinion. You're probably right, DJ Clockwise. You're probably right. But I do think it would have been it would be a good sort of match for a Talma to get the rounds in. Because Huey's not dangerous to the point where he's going to knock you out. And I don't think he wins rounds anymore at this sort of level. I think Huey Fury's a washed fighter from what I've seen of him on his comeback. And he was never great to begin with, but he could handle himself. Tell you what would be a great fight. You're mentioning Al Chisora Wardley. What about Wardley versus a Talma? I know they're never going to make that fight in a million years. But a Talma versus Wardley. I'd actually pay for that fight, you know, I think. That's a great fight. Yeah, apologies. So, Huey had a few, like, 6-rounders this year. Like, 3 or 4 6-rounders this year. And I actually watched them because I'm a fucking degenerate retard. I actually watched them. And for the most part, he didn't look good, in my opinion. Yeah, basically, Max. Yeah, basically. Yeah, he's basically knocking out scrubs. But again, on paper at least, like Dempsey McKean went 12 with Hergovich. So it's a good statement to a degree, right? Yeah, he's got until April, cop end. He's got until April. So Tyson won the title, what, 20 years and 4 months? He was 20 years and 4 months old. Talma's 20 in a few days. So yeah, he's 20 in a few days. He doesn't look 20 though, does he? He looks like 25, 26, 27. But the thing with Jared Anderson, for me, like, I was never fully on board with Anderson. I could see a guy in Anderson who was athletically talented, but I was never really on board with Anderson like that. A Ukrainian boxer, Yuri Zakharev, decided to not wait for the Olympics and turn pro. Had his debut not so long ago, could be promising. Yeah, I heard about him. I always like frequent for boxing forums now and again. Isn't he like welterweight, right? Or like light welterweight maybe? Something like that. But yeah, I heard he turned pro recently. We'll see how he does. We'll see how he does. Yeah, who's willing to fight a Talma though? Yeah, exactly. Frank has to overpay. That's another thing. Yeah, a Johnny Rice would make sense. Jonathan Rice. There's that Ukrainian kid as well who's beaten a few guys recently. Myronets. Bodan Myronets. So he beat Cash Ali recently. He beat Nathan Gorman recently. He also beat that Cuban prospect as well. That could be a fight for him to get a few rounds. Like you say, Jonathan Rice. Maybe a Stephen Shaw. These are the sort of fights he needs, I think. Well, yeah, there's that as well, apology. The safety of old Derek, right? For Dubois, the money isn't there with Talma. It depends, right? Like, if the Saudis want to put it on. Like, could you imagine? I think it would sell itself. Like, let's say it was a Talma going in there with Dubois instead of Parker. I think it would sell itself just because of a narrative. Yeah, exactly, Max. Yeah, exactly, yeah. Huey's fighting 6-rounders now, isn't he? Yeah. I saw my... I watched all of his fights this year. I think he had 4 fights. Let's have a look. No, he had 3 fights. So, Doboshenko, the Ukrainian journeyman, never been knocked out. Obviously, Huey couldn't knock him out. Looked kind of bad in that fight. He fought Patrick Corte. He stopped Corte in 2 rounds. And he fought Christian Thun, who is a prospect from Germany. Well, was a prospect from Germany a few years ago. Beat him on points in an 8-rounder. So yeah, it is what it is. It's like... Caballel's the number 3 heavyweight on BoxRec. Yeah, BoxRec rankings are crazy, you know. BoxRec rankings are crazy. Yeah, Huey's had a non-career. Yeah, that's how I would describe it. Like, outside the step-up fights he's had, so Pulev, like a prime Pulev, Povetkin, and Parker, who's he really fought? Like, who's he really fought? So, like a washed Marius Vac, Sam Sexton, Andre Rudenko. I'm trying to remember. Who else has he fought? I don't know. Fred Cassie. Yeah, Fred Cassie. He was like a durable sort of journeyman at one point. He needs me as his matchmaker. I'd love to be a matchmaker in boxing. I'd get a few guys knocked out. But... yeah, Anderson's insistence on using that dodgy lean-back defense always made me hesitant to back him, yeah. Yeah, especially at... I mean, doing that, like, he had that sort of lean-back style at heavyweight when he's not super tall, which is dumb as hell. Like, when there's guys out there who are so much taller and longer. Yeah, I heard about this. The IBA have started to introduce their own belts into boxing as well. Yeah, that dude works for the IBA, who I quite like. Al Siesta. I think he works with the IBA now. When did I first see Gareth A. Davis on screen? I've got no idea, you know. Whenever it was, it should have been the last time. Oh, Dubois reminds me of that guy in The Green Mile. Yeah, that's a great movie, by the way, The Green Mile. It's a great movie. John Coffey, right? When he died, it was fucking heartbreaking, by the way. When I watched that movie. What's his actual condition? No idea. Was it a blood thing, like a blood disease or something? I don't even know, or an immune or like an immune disease maybe. Bro, Huey's resume is crazy. Like he's never fought like. So the guys he lost to in his like the guys he's lost to have been like. Let's say they've been world class, right? Parker was top 10 when he lost to him. As was Povetkin, as was Pulev. So all of these guys were like top 10 when they beat Huey. So he's only lost at like top 10 level. But you look at the guys he's beaten, man. Like he beat a washed Christian Hammer. Like again, Sam Sexton, Fred Cassie, Marius Vac washed, Dominic Gwynn washed, Andre Rudenko. I mean, his resume is awful. I hate to be that guy talking about resumes, but like, honestly. Like, he's never beaten, like, even a prime fringe contender, Huey Fury. I don't think he would beat anybody of consequence either. Like even a Jared, we're talking about Jared Anderson. Do you think Huey Fury would beat Jared Anderson? I don't. I think he's totally washed. Tom Hanks is sus indeed, he is, yeah. Huey Fury is a cash alley away from a free order on Deliveroo. Yeah, truth is no promoter cares about Huey, and I'm glad to be fair. So am I, Cop End. We don't need those sort of fighters in the heavyweight division. Let's be honest about it. I don't mind boxers in the heavyweight division, but I don't describe Huey as a boxer. I describe him as a spoiler. I don't think Kizniak's turning pro. I've not heard any news about it anyway. Where do I put Tyson? Tyson Fury in terms of heavyweights from this era? Number 2, I would say. Number 2. Usyk 1, Fury 2, Joshua number 3, Parker number 4. I know Dubois beat Joshua, but I don't want to put him in this era. I think he's one of those guys who starts in this era, but his era is going to be the next one, really. If that makes sense. Makes sense to me, anyway. Yeah, he is similar to Boychuk. Yeah, that's a good shout. But like MB said, will he be able to do that for 12 rounds? What he does in the amateurs? See, I wouldn't mind seeing Dubois versus Fury. I don't really I don't really want to see Usyk take yet another rematch. If Usyk stays at heavyweight and stays active, I'd rather see him fight somebody else. Which means either the winner of Caballel versus Zhang, or if Parker beats Dubois. But I don't really want to see him fight Dubois again. I'd rather see him fight somebody different. So having said that, I wouldn't mind seeing Dubois, if he beats Parker, to fight Tyson Fury. Yeah, Joshua's resume is good, yeah. I think Joshua's one of those weird ones where, like, in his when as his career has happened, he had a lot of fanboys who overrated him. But I think he also had people who kind of shat on him a bit too much. I think as time goes on, people will maybe look back on Joshua a little more fondly as like a fighter who at least gave us some good fights, had some good wins. Yeah, had some bad losses, but ultimately was entertaining. I think he'll go down as like an entertaining heavyweight champion who, yeah, was probably never as good as advertised. Dubois knocks Fury out. Ooh, Fury's legs are gone. His legs have definitely slowed down a lot. I would rather see him retire or do something like crazy. Like, so let's say, for example, we said this earlier, but let's say Beterbiev beats Bivol and these two guys meet at a catchweight or a cruiserweight fight. Beterbiev, Usyk, just because. Like, literally just because. I still think Usyk might be a bit too active for him, Tom. Because one thing about that Tyson Fury, who beat Klitschko, he wasn't active in terms of punching. I still think Usyk might beat him. It's a totally different fight though, so I can't really envisage it. It's a totally different fight. Yeah, I'd rather not see a Dubois fight, I'll be honest. Having said that, like Jay Bilo says, like, I think Dubois is more risky this time around. Yeah, I don't think he will. I'm just really kind of talking fantasy, to be honest with you. Yeah, I agree, Matt. Yeah. Fury's 10 years past his physical prime. He's never been half a fighter he was physically from before the comeback. He's oddly proportioned and moves completely differently now, yeah. He's always been built weird, but it looked more natural back in the day. You're right, I agree. I do agree. This is a good point. Yeah, I agree with your point on the Vlad fight, but also Usyk is not in his physical prime anymore. He's also regressed. I got Usyk from the first AJ fight over Fury, from the Vlad fight all day. That's a great point that a lot of people, and I've not really spoken about it, but I agree. Is Usyk is declining. He's not as good as he was. He's older than Fury, by the way. He's older than Fury. Had a lot more amateur fights. Not had as long a pro career, but had a lot more amateur fights. Like, he's got more rounds in the bank than Fury if you, like, combine it all. Well, that's what I heard as well, Wayne, about Usyk saying he eats a lot to stay at heavyweight. Yeah, that's what I heard as well. I don't think he'd beat Usyk to a pulp, but like Lennox would be Lennox would be very interesting because Lennox could make it nasty. Like if Usyk was winning the early rounds, like Lennox could make it nasty. I think Batali is a hard fight for Usyk, much like I do Lennox. I think Usyk is much more likely to beat Vlad out of the Klitschko brothers. Again, I think Tyson's a bad style matchup for Usyk. We went over this previously, but yeah. Prime Shannon Briggs versus Usyk. I mean, Usyk just has to be careful, right, for like the first sort of 3 rounds or so. And after that, I think he would outbox Shannon quite comfortably. Shannon was a good athlete, but his gas tank wasn't great. Had a lot of power, but... Yeah, Vitali had very good feet. See, I said Holmes was the guy I felt would give Usyk a lot of trouble as well. I think Tyson beats Usyk. Personally, I think Tyson has the worst style for Usyk, but I think Holmes would be a great technical boxing match. They still have work to go, XMB. They still have a way to go. A couple of glitches still in the game. They need to improve punch connectivity. And there's also a glitch as well that doesn't score the 8th round sometimes, for last round. So yeah. So my whole thing is like the two most famous heavyweights in history, Mike Tyson and Muhammad Ali. This was my sacrilegious opinion of the night. I feel Usyk would have beaten Ali. A prime Usyk. From like, not even, I mean, I don't think he was prime when he fought Joshua the first time, but I think that Usyk would beat Ali. I think Usyk at his best would beat Ali. But I think Usyk at his best loses to Mike Tyson. And again, it's not me saying, again, I always have to preface it because a lot of people are crazy, but that's not to say Usyk is greater than Ali. That's a different conversation. But I think in a head-to-head, I think Usyk matches up well with Ali. I do. I really do. Usyk would style on Valiev. Honestly, he would style on Valiev. Valiev was a big stiff idiot. He was the original big stiff idiot before David Price. Like, he lost to an ancient fucking Evander Holyfield. And he lost to Shagayev as well. No, I don't think Usyk beats Tyson. I think Usyk beats Ali. I think Tyson beats Usyk. John Ruiz, yeah, John Ruiz. So John Ruiz was like a spoiler. Big time spoiler. Not a great fighter, but still a good win for Roy Jones. Still a good win. You know, coming up from middleweight, well, light middleweight really. He started his career at light middleweight. It's a good win. I know Ruiz wasn't great, but who do you mean, Steve Davis? I might be wrong, Jamie. I might be wrong. Povetkin would have been a fun fight, you know. Again, this is how the whole head-to-head thing works. Like, I think a prime Povetkin would have been dangerous for Usyk. See, I wish we got that fight with Wilder and Povetkin in Russia. I wish we got that fight. It's crazy shit like that really kind of changes the timeline, because I'm not, listen, I don't have a fucking, you know, a crystal ball, but I was convinced when that fight was made, when Wilder Povetkin was made, I was like, not convinced, that's the wrong word, but very confident that Povetkin was going to knock out Wilder. Very confident. I think Povetkin would have got under those shots of Wilder and came up with that left hook and just sparked him. Like, Povetkin was one of those guys I felt was underrated in terms of like skill set wise. Like, some of his punch technique was like just fucking beautiful to watch. Like the knockout against Dillian White, like a washed Povetkin when he knocked out Dillian White. That sequence was just fucking beautiful, because he was getting pinged around that ring like for most of those rounds, Povetkin, and he just comes up with that fucking uppercut, man. It's like, yeah, that knockout from Povetkin against Dillian White, probably one of my favourite heavyweight knockouts of, like, I don't know, since I've been watching boxing live. So I've been watching boxing hardcore, since, like, I say 2008 is when that's how long I've been watching boxing hardcore. When I was about 14, I started watching hardcore. And that's one of the best heavyweight knockouts I've seen. One of the others I put up there is Briedis against Manuel Char. Yeah, that Soviet uppercut, bro. That was a hammer and sickle uppercut. That was a crazy shot, man. Yeah, remember, it was a lucky punch according to Johnny Nelson. Yeah, some of, like, Povetkin knocking out Char, bro. When Char beat his chest and he got sparked. Povetkin's knockout against Takam as well was another good one. That little window, so after the Vlad fight to when he got popped, that window of Povetkin was so fucking enjoyable. He was killing everything, wasn't he? Like, he was destroying everything. Yo, Rosado Melikuziev was a great knockout. Rosado Melikuziev was a great knockout. Just the old man, the old veteran, just fucking, just sparking that kid, man. That was a great knockout. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Povetkin had a load of lucky KOs. Oh yeah, the knockout of David Price as well. That was nasty. That was a that was a post like. That was like Povetkin on the downslide, but yeah, it was a nasty knockout. It's like the Dillian White one. It like just nasty, just nasty. That was more brutal though than that was more brutal than the Dillian White knockout. Like that was more brutal. Like Price was out on his feet, like literally out on his feet, like just stumbling around like Homer Simpson or Barney Gumble after a few Duff beers, just stumbling around, and that left hook comes in and just fucking cleans him out, man. Like Jesus Christ. I'm surprised he didn't get seriously damaged from that knockout, Price. Makes me want to try Meldonium, I'll tell you that. Great question. How do you think Usyk Evander at both cruiser and heavyweight would have gone? I think Usyk definitely beats Evander at cruiserweight. At heavyweight, I'm not so sure, you know. I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure at heavyweight. I know Holyfield was kind of inconsistent at heavyweight, as good as he was. Like he could drop a decision to Michael Moorer, you know. I'm not saying Michael Moorer was a bad fighter because he was kind of underrated, but heavyweight I'm not so sure on. I'll be honest, but I do think he'd beat Holyfield at cruiser. Brian Moreno versus Frank Arnold was one of the best knockouts I've seen in recent years. Have I seen that knockout? I think I have. Yeah, because this guy was a journeyman, wasn't he? I know I've seen this knockout. The guy who knocked him out was like a total journeyman, was he not? Just watching it now. Oh damn! He literally bounced off of ropes. Like, bro, he got fucking killed. I think I remember this knockout. Remember when David Price turned into White Larry Holmes against Dave Allen, bro? He was pulling the shoulder roll, bro. David Price was pulling a shoulder roll on fucking on old Dave Allen. That's crazy. Yeah, Holyfield was mad fucking juiced at heavyweight. Yeah, 100%. He was like one of the most obvious juice heads in boxing, man. Like, it's crazy. Like when I watched the whole like Tyson, like, when I watched Tyson Holyfield back. Like I don't know whether I was tripping, but like Holyfield almost looked bigger than Tyson. I don't think he weighed as much, but he looked bigger. Oh yeah, that's a good knockout. Yeah, Birchelt against Valdez against Birchelt. Yeah. So I really liked Birchelt as well. I really liked Birchelt. But yeah, that knockout was savage. He hasn't fought much since then either, has he? He's not really fought much. Yep, Dorticos Kudryashov. Kudryashov got slept a few times. Yeah, that was Wilder's best knockout in my opinion. Was the Spielka knockout. I remember that knockout. Yep, yeah, that was in America. Yeah, that was on a PBC card. Dorticos Tabiti, yeah. Dorticos is bro, he was a mean old boy. Dorticos. Is he still fighting? I'm sure he is. I think he is still fighting. Yeah, he's still active, had a fight this year. See, it's a shame, like, the last time he got a big fight was in 2020. Since then, he's had, like, 3 fights against, like, low-level comp. Like, real low-level comp. He fought Briedis in 2020, obviously. Lost that fight by a majority. And since then, right, he's only had sort of 3 fights. It's like, this guy's exciting. Like, why... His fight with Kalenga, if you haven't seen that back in the day, that I think it was like 2017, 2016 maybe. Like his fight with Kalenga was really good, Yuri Kalenga. Okay, is he Mando? Okay, Dorticos Zerdo's Mando, okay. Taking step asides, okay, that's fair enough then. That's fair enough. Who's most limited? Tommy Fury, Campbell Hatton, or Johnny Fisher? I would put Campbell Hatton and Tommy Fury as like an equal level of shit. I would put Johnny Fisher above those guys. I'm not saying Johnny Fisher is good though. Okay, so yeah, Dorticos is ranked. Okay, so he's just taking step aside. Fair enough. But I'd like to see him fight again. No idea how he became Mando. Yeah, that's fair. But you know, I mean, it's the cruiserweight division. There's fights out there for everybody, man. Like, yeah, Wilder's knockout of Brazil was good, actually. Yeah, that was a good knockout. It was picturesque. Like it was perfectly lined up, kind of thing, you know. My favourite fight of that period for cruisers was Gassiev-Lebedev. Just a slugfest and a very raw Gassiev. Lebedev rallying like the tough cunt he is. Yeah, facts. Bro, my favourite cruiserweight fight of like... Again, since I've been watching boxing, is Lebedev versus Guillermo Jones. That was a nasty ass fight. That's one of the best fights that I don't feel gets the applauds that it deserves. Like that's such a good fight. Lebedev versus Guillermo Jones, 2013. I vividly remember when I was watching it. I watched it on Box Nation because I went round my parents' house to watch the fight. Believe it or not, because my parents had like they had Box Nation from when I still lived at home. Because Box Nation came out like maybe 2011. And anyway, I went home. I went to my parents, had some like dinner and shit, like just stayed there for a bit, and I watched the fight and like I was blown away, man. It's like fucking hell. Lebedev Guillermo Jones was fucking insane. It's such a good fight. See, that's the thing though. Like, there's this whole Partridge thing about the Furies. Is that the real name? Like, I've heard like the reasons why people say it is, but I want to see documentation, kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? I want to see documentation, bro. I'll be honest here. Like, if Tyson Fury's real name is Tyson Partridge or Luke Partridge, whatever, it would almost be more impressive if he was heavyweight champion with the name Luke Partridge. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like, I feel it would be more impressive. It just seems more impressive when your name's Luke Partridge. Or Tyson, even, yeah, Luke, let's say Luke Partridge. I feel like he kind of undone himself. I don't think he could have made Cruiser for much longer, Stats Killer. I don't think he could have made Cruiser for much longer. I think he had to go up. He actually won recently against an unbeaten prospect from Denmark. Kim Lingsfist, I think his name was, who was like 18-0 maybe going into that fight. And he knocked out that dude. So he's still chugging along. Unbelievably, he's only 31 years old, Gassiev. Yeah, exactly, Copend. The Russian cards on Box Nation were sick. Some of those cards were great because you had like guys like Kudryashov, Shakayev. If you guys remember him, like the cruiserweight, Ruslan Shakayev. Was his name Ruslan? His name was Shakayev though, like Chakiev maybe. You guys remember him, I'm sure. All these sort of guys. A young Bivol was coming. A young Bivol, sorry, was coming up on these cards. On these sort of Russian cards. Who else did you have? You had Grigory Drozd, who was a cruiserweight champion, good fighter as well. Denis Boistov, yeah, he was based in Germany though, I think primarily. Yeah, probably changed to Fury by Deedpoll years ago. Plus, gypsies don't keep records of anything. Sure, they don't have birth certificates. Yeah, true. Yeah, Tryanovsky was another one. Edward Tryanovsky, yep. But there was a few guys. There was a few. It was Rakim Shakayev, by the way, not Ruslan. I'm thinking of Razli. I was thinking of Ruslan Shagayev, but the cruiserweight I was talking about was Rakim Shakayev. He splattered Ofalabi, I think, right? No, he lost to Ofalabi, I think. But yeah, Shakayev was a good cruiserweight as well. Yeah, Tishchenko, yeah. I didn't rate Tishchenko. He clearly lost to the South African fighter. Fucking, why am I blanking on his name? He also fought Makabu and got robbed. Machunu. Machunu, yeah. He lost that fight to that guy. Fucking got schooled. I didn't really rate Tishchenko. No, he beat Tishchenko, right? He got the decision. Yeah. So yeah, I never really rated Tishchenko, but yeah, big old boy, but like, just not impressive to me, man. Not impressive at all. But anyway, guys, I need to wrap it up. It's Christmas today, technically. But yeah, I need to go to bed. Wake up early. Not early, but yeah. Wake up, get ready, get washed, all that shit. You know how it is. Then go to the old family Christmas dinner. So, yeah, I need to wrap it up, guys. Had a good stream, though. I enjoyed it. Been a while since I've done one of these. So, yeah. Have a great Christmas, guys. Stay safe, all that good shit. Don't drink too much. You know, but yeah, peace out, guys. Have a great Christmas. I'll catch you very, very, very shortly. Peace out, guys. Have a good one.